Hello everyone, this is Gage from Gondorian Smith, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another 3rd Age Reforged online multiplayer battle replay, and this one is actually a 3 versus 4 siege of the Cardolan Outpost. I actually have not played on this map very often. I actually might not even think I've played on it once, but it is kind of an open-ish siege. You can see most of the defenses are natural, although there are some buildings, but you can't actually get up on these buildings, so most of the defenses are going to be just like natural hills and natural walls and such, and things like that. Also, you can actually tell that one of the defenders actually has to deploy way out here, which means he does have to move in towards the city if he wants to go in it. However, the defenders are, of course, always going to be able to defend out here, which is probably what I would try to do, because the deployment phase, at least for Dol Amroth, I know ends right about here. So you could actually put pikes and stuff here to hold this choke. However, you have to worry about archers and artillery. But anyway, you can see that the attackers can attack from this natural land bridge here, and then also the 2 standard bridges over here. So there are a lot of ways over, so you do have to be careful of how you layer the overall defense, because if you do decide to defend this land bridge, where you can put, archers and artillery up here and such, you do actually have to be careful of getting a flank from these bridges over here. So if you defend one, you kind of have to either defend all. Well, if you defend one, you kind of have to defend all, because if you don't, then the attackers can flank all the way around and attack the city and also your position over here from behind and from the flanks. Without any further ado, we can go ahead and go into the army comps, beginning with Lenga, who sent me this replay. Big thank you to him for sending it to me. He's going to be playing as Dale. He's got one of the Lake Town bowmen, as well as 2 units of the Dalian marksmen. The rest of his army, I believe, is in here. He's got 2 units of the Lake Town Rim Patrol, which is some cheap javelins. Not great in melee, but as long as they're able to throw their missiles, they can actually cause quite a bit of damage. He's also got, I believe, 3 units of the AP Barding Herd Halberds, so good at holding the line, and because they are AP, they should be able to do a lot of damage. His general is going to be the Girian's Paladins over here with 2 HP, also AP maces. He also has, there's a 2nd unit of Dalian Marksman. He's got 1 of the Athala Rangers, so BP is going to be very nice, of course, in sieges. He's got a unit of the Markland, the Elven Bows. He's got 2 units of the Earls of Esgaroth, as well as 2 units of the Lake Town Spearmen, 2 units of the Swordmasters of Conan, and then he also has 1 Ballista, as well as 1 unit of the Dalian Royal Guard. You can see that he actually was able to deploy his entire army in this actual city, which is nice. Out here we've got Vedetus commanding Dol Amroth, and I believe he might have accidentally ended his deployment phase before actually deploying, but it's not a big deal because you can just come straight through the back here with the rest of his army. However, he's got 2 units of the Tirith Air Wardens, 2 units only of the Edhelm meta-arms, although it looks like they do have at least 1 armor upgrade. He also has 2 units of Talon Knights somewhere around here. He's got 2 units of the Edhelm Halberdiers, as well as 3 units of the Edhelm Halberdiers actually, as well as 4 units of the Dor and Ernil Pikemen with 1 armor upgrade. Actually, that might be 2, I'm not quite sure. He also has 2 units of the Belfalas Marines, as well as 2 units of the Dor and Ernil Archers. He's also got some Haven Guard, and I think they are actually in here, so maybe he didn't skip the deployment phase. Maybe not. But I know he does have, I think, 2 Talon Knights and 1 Haven Guard for his general. But that'll pretty much do it for his army, although he could have some hidden rangers around there, but we will see them later in the battle. Over here we have got Frodo commanding the army of Cardolan, so it's a nice good versus evil scenario. He's got a couple units of Miniscarithlan Spearmen. He's got 1 unit of the Tharbad Warhammers, as well as 2 units of the Greenwatch Garrison Footmen, who are of course cheap pikes. He's got 1 unit of the Wardens of Turn Gorthad, who inspire courage into their friendlies, and they're also very elite armored pikemen. He's got 1 unit of the upgraded Dunedain Captains in there. He's got 2 units of the Miniscarithlan Archers, 2 units of the Greenwatch Garrison Spearmen, just some really cheap low-tier spears that are not going to win many fights, but they can at least provide some support to the pikes. He's also got 2 units of the Miniscarithlan Sharpshooters, so the crossbows, of course, are going to be causing a lot of damage, which is very nice in this overall battle. Looks here, he's got, yes, some Dunedain Rangers, so some more BP. He's got Minotaur Roman Guardians, Halberds in melee, but also very deadly crossbows. He's got the Hearthguard of Amansul for his general. He's got another unit of Greenwatch Garrison Footmen, and he's got another unit of Greenwatch Garrison Spearmen. That'll pretty much do it for the army comps of the defenders, so we can now go over here to the attackers, the first of which is going to be Ragnar commanding Mordor. He's got 1 unit of Orc Javelins, he's got 2 units of the Black Legion of Barad-dûr, incredibly good pushers. He's also got a couple units of the Mornon Heavy Maulers, so some, I guess, medium tier AP. He's got 1 unit of the Sauron's Will, who are also AP, but unlike the Maulers, these guys actually have locked morale and can chant, so they are very, very nice. He's got 1 unit of the upgraded Temple Executioners, of course, extraordinarily deadly melee unit. He's got 3 units of the Mornon Infantry, he's got 2 units of Orc Fodder, as well as 2 units of Orc Archers and 2 units of Mornon Archers. Over here we've got 1 of 2 Isengard armies, the first of which being commanded by son of the Dunedain. He's got some Dunlending clansmen all in the front, as well as some Dunlending veterans down here. He's also got one of the Isengard ballistas. He's got 2 units of Uruk-hai crossbows, 2 units of Uruk-hai pikemen, as well as 2 units of Uruk-hai infantry. And his elites are actually way back over here. One being the knights that are the champions of the White Hand. These guys are very, very good anti-cavalry units, of course, and they also instill fear into their enemies. So if you get them around and start cycle charging, they will cause a lot of routing. He's also got a unit of the Guards of Orthanc back here, not for his general. These guys do inspire courage to their friendlies around them, although because they are spearmen, they aren't going to get very many kills. He's got 1 unit of the Nazkai, as well as 1 unit of the Trolls of the White Hand. That'll pretty much do it for his army, although he probably has some hidden units like some Snaga skirmishers and things like that hidden around here. Maybe some Dunlending berserkers as well. We can now see the next army, which is going to be Mob Horsey Hawks YT. I believe he does have a YouTube channel, and I will put the link to that down in the description below if he does. And yes, he's going to be playing as the second army of Isengard. He's got 3 units of Uruk-hai pikemen, I believe 4 units of Uruk-hai infantry, 1 unit of the Nazkai, 1 unit of his own Guards of Orthanc, which is actually where his general is. You could see some upgraded Uruk-hai infantry. He also has, I believe, 2 units of the Uruk-hai crossbows, 1 unit of Uruk-hai archers. He also has his own Isengard ballista. He's also got champions of the White Hand, trolls of the White Hand, and I believe that just about does it for his army, with the exception of a unit of Uruk-hai reavers up front here, just some cheap AP. That'll pretty much do it for his army, so we can now go over here and see the final attacking army, which is going to be the Orcs of the Misty Mountains, commanded by Thick Dick. He's got a couple units of the Heavy Goblin crossbows, 3 units of Heavy Goblin spears, 2 units of the Heavy Goblin infantry, 2 units back here of the Black Uruks of the mountains, so some nice shock infantry. He's got a unit of the White Uruk fearmongers, as well as some Goblin from his bodyguard, some troll drummers, and some snow trolls, although he probably also has some other hidden units like the Mountain Orc berserkers, and maybe even some Blackback Mountain berserkers as well. But that'll pretty much do it for the army comps. We can go ahead and start the battle off itself. I will go ahead and put it at normal speed, because at least in the beginning, of course, it is going to be a rather slow attack, because there's only 3 narrow bridges to get across. However, thankfully for the attackers, the defenders are not going to be deploying up here to try to stop their advance, which honestly is probably fine, because the ballista there is going to, well, if they decide to put pikes and spears up here, the ballista would be extremely troublesome, to say the least. But at the moment, it looks like this might be more of a deployment phase, probably just something in the rules that they would allow the defenders to deploy before attacking. So if that is the case, I will go ahead and make a cut here, and I will see you guys back in just a second. However, it looks like that might not be the case, because Dol Amroth is not deciding actually to go into the city. Instead, he's actually pushing forward with a lot of his units. So we'll have to see what's going on. Looks like Cardolan is actually doing the same. But yeah, it must have been something that they were just asking the attackers to wait for them to at least deploy somewhat before attacking, which is nice. Pikemen and Belflossmen rushing forward with some Dor and Urnil archers. Looks like we can't see any hidden units from Dol Amroth quite yet. He is committing a few of his units back into the city, it looks like, mainly to secure their wardens. And I would like to know what happened to his Talon Knights and Haven Guard, because I did see them right when I opened the replay. Over here you can see Lango moving forward with his army as well. Looks like he's moving forward with some spears as well as some archers. But he's actually pulling back with his archers that were over here. No, maybe not. We'll have to see in just a little bit, I guess. But yeah, for the most part, it looks like the attackers are going to be waiting a little while, although they might be trying to take some pot shots with their Isengard ballista. And over here, it looks like some Mornon infantry is kind of making a disrupted approach to the land bridge. I know that these little bridges here can be sometimes a little bit troublesome to get your units across, so that might be why these Mornon infantry are kind of moving over a little awkwardly like this. Son of Dunedain going to move forward with his ballista as well, and Orc fodder, Mornon infantry is all moving forward towards this land bridge too. But if you'll excuse me for just a moment, I think something might be messed up with my audio real quick. Oh, maybe not. Okay, good. I was worried. For some reason, my audio's been getting a little bit messed up recently. Not too bad. Looks like it should be okay. Also, as you can tell, this is an insanely long siege. So, yeah, get ready for that. I can't really make cuts, but just prepare for this to be like an hour and 30-minute long video, maybe even longer than that. However, even though this is an incredibly long one, I can tell you that it's also incredibly close, because Lango actually did tell me that it ended 99 to 100%. He did not, of course, tell me who won, but it's always good to see battles that are that close. You can see that Videtus is moving forward with some Dor and Urnal archers here towards this land bridge and to try to stall the advance of any approaching forces. It'd also be very nice to put maybe some rangers up here just so they can fire down onto the hill. So if any blocked forces are here, they'll be able to inflict a ton of damage. However, you do of course have to be careful because of those 2 Isengard ballistas that are out there. So it's going to maybe be a little bit difficult to try to hold this land bridge here. You can see actually some of the cheaper units, the 3 units of the Greenwatch Garrison moving forward, as well as some Greenwatch Garrison Spearmen. There's some Misty archers, Greenwatch Garrison Spearmen. But yeah, it looks like for the most part Dol Amroth and Cardolan are going to be holding out here, whereas Dale will be holding back and trying to deal with probably mostly the elites that are left over once they start to get into the city here, but again, I don't know for sure. Alien marksman actually going off onto this hill position here. Of course, very nice archer position, but you do of course have to wait for the advancing forces to go over this land bridge. And maybe these 2 bridges aren't actually usable. I mean, I would assume they are, but because Mordor is just leaving these 2 bridges here, maybe they aren't. Interesting. We'll have to see if they actually ever do get used in this battle, but so far it looks like they're not going to. Which makes it rather difficult, probably, for the defenders, because now that means both of the Isengard ballistas are going to be focusing on anything they put here, which is going to be rather troublesome, I believe. Also, something you probably noticed is that the attackers brought a lot of knights, anti-cavalry knights to be exact, the Melkor's Chosen, and 2 units of the Champions of the White Hand. And those will be all fine and dandy once they actually get out here. But for actually breaking through this land bridge here, they're going to be pretty much useless, and they won't be able to do really anything once they actually get into the city as well. So, rather surprising that they brought those units instead of some more infantry, especially because those knights are very, very expensive. However, I think... Oh yeah, that's Son of Adunan's forces. But over here, we can see that the Misty Mountains is making his way down the hill towards Isengard. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see a lot of his hidden units because it looks like he's pretty much stopped moving. But they can see some Goblin infantry moving towards the land bridge, so just some cheap fodder going in there to die. But yeah, looks like we can't see anything else of his force quite yet. But we will, of course, pretty soon once they begin their actual advance. Thankfully, it looks like it's not lagging too bad, considering this is a 3v4 on huge, which is always nice to see. Especially with all of these factions. I mean, with the exception of Isengard, who's not quite as focused around numbers as Mordor and the Misty Mountains, they still do have more units, more men per unit than most human factions, and definitely more than elves. So yeah, looks like everyone's basically just setting up here, so I might speed it up just a little bit while everyone's kind of setting up and deciding on what they want to do. So I'll go ahead and put up to 1.2, I guess. Well, it'll be at 1.2 whenever I'm not moving. Yeah, Melkor's Chosen and the Champions of the White Hand might be nice to use if you push them around over this bridge and try to just cause some havoc in the rear lines. But this is the General's bodyguard of Ragnar, so he does probably... Yeah, he's going to have to be pretty careful with it, though, because he does not want to lose his general that early on. It actually looks like he's going to push some orc fodder. Maybe not. Maybe they are bugged out. But actually, if he was able to get his knights around here, it would be nice, because he could not only go around this way and start attacking Dol Amroth and Cardolan from the rear over here, out in the open, but if he wanted to, he could maybe... Actually, there's some spears back here trying to prevent that from happening, which is nice. He could maybe try to go into the actual city itself, but ooh, no, that's going to be a negative. There are pikes and spears back here, so that's going to be no. And yes, actually, I forgot to mention that there's also a trebuchet from Cardolan as well. Also, there are crossbows and all sorts of nasty things up here that would prevent those knights from approaching, as well as some Dunedain Rangers. So yeah, this is a very nice defense. It'll be interesting to see if good can defeat evil in this battle, of course, because the evil forces do have a lot of quality, which is, well, I shouldn't say that. They don't have a lot of quality, but they have a lot of numbers, and the units of quality that they did bring are very, very deadly, particularly things like Nazkai and Executioners. And yes, it looks like they are going to be moving over the bridge with more of their units here. You can see some Orc fodder going across, some Mordor infantry behind them. Elsewhere, you've actually got Champions of the White Hand and some Orc Javelins going around as well. But this is not the general's bodyguard of Son of the Dunedain, so he can use these guys a little bit more aggressively than, say, Ragnar with his Melkor's Chosen. But still, he's going to have to be very careful when trying to flank around, because he won't be able to enter the city. And the only other passageways right here are guarded by spearmen, some captains, and it looks like some javelins right there as well. Again, you can charge directly into spearmen with knights, and most of the time you'll get away with it okay-ish. But you still do have to be very careful and make sure you don't leave them in prolonged melee, because spearmen, of course, do have a very nice bonus against cavalry. But if you just charge in once and then get out, you should be okay most of the time, as long as you're using a knight unit and as long as the spear unit isn't super elite. And definitely you don't ever want to charge straight into pikes. That's, even if it's a knight unit, it won't help. Light Town spears and some pikemen moving towards the back lines. It looks like they've probably noticed that there are more units going around those, or going over those furthest bridges, so they're going to be committing some pikemen to help out those spearmen against the cavalry and prevent any cavalry charging head-on into those spears. Meanwhile, over here, Lingo's got some Light Town bowmen nicely positioned on this hill here to fire. There are also some Greenwatch Garrison spearmen and some Greenwatch Garrison footmen here, preventing any forces from just barging straight through, which is nice, because if they were allowed to barge straight through, they would definitely be able to disrupt this main defense right here, and also get into all of these archers, which is not something you would want to happen as the defenders. But they will probably have to commit some more units over there, because they've only got one unit of cheap pikes and one unit of cheap spears, so if attackers really decide to focus hard on this area, they will be able to break through, especially with things like trolls, and javelins and units like that. Yeah, you can see even just the mere presence of these ballistas is actually forcing... Oh, this one's actually firing. I don't know what. Oh. It did not use fire ammo, but it fired, I believe, over here. I don't know if it hit, though. Oh, it did, yeah. He's firing at some Greenwatch Garrison spearmen. Probably not the best target, honestly. I mean, it is nice because that's like the perfect angle. If he gets one good hit, he could probably take out like an entire row. But again, these guys are super, super cheap. I think they're only like 350 florins or something like that. So they're really not the best target to try to kill with the Isengard Ballista, which I believe costs 1,000 florins. But we'll see. We'll see if it pays off for him. Yeah, unfortunately, just the mere presence of that ballista is forcing most of these units to go into loose formation, which means if the attackers decide to rush head-on, the pikemen might not actually have enough time to get back into formation before they are assaulted. And once cheap pikes in particular, if they're not allowed to get formation, will get killed very easily. Yeah, Greenwatch Garrison footmen taking a lot of losses to that ballista, but that's perfectly okay, I would assume, for the defenders, because again, this is an extraordinarily cheap unit, and the Isengard Ballista does not have a ton of ammo. In fact, you can see after just firing those 2 volleys, he has stopped firing now. Unfortunately, actually I take it back, I was going to say unfortunately the artillery of the defenders is not firing at this bridge, but I take it back, because just like the Greenwatch Garrison spearmen, these guys, all of these units are very cheap, just fodder-ish units, so you really don't want to waste any artillery on them. Mordor archers, Orc archers, and Mordor infantry. So it looks like Mordor is going to be committing his full force over here. Going to be trying to push across the bridge pretty shortly, I would assume. So it looks like he's going to be trying to either go around or on that side there for the most part. Whereas his 3 allies will maybe be just rushing headlong over this land bridge. But yeah, I think we'll just kind of... Oh, actually, interesting. The Greenwich Garrison footmen and the Greenwich Garrison spearmen are actually pulling away from that position there. Rather interesting, to say the least. Meanwhile, though, it looks like the ballista has also been firing at these Edhelm men-at-arms, but the men-at-arms are at a much better angle towards the ballista, so they're not going to be taking as many losses as those footmen, especially if they do go into loose formation. Although Lengo is pushing up some spears here, so that may make Son of the Dunedain and Horsey Hawks want to fire even more at this area. But again, all these units are still pretty cheap. The Lake Town Spearmen, I think, are only like 400, 450 florins. The Edhelm men-at-arms are better, especially because they do have an armor upgrade, but still they're not super great. Oh, here comes some clansmen over the bridge. But this is going to be an interesting part, because it'll be... Ooh, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to attempt to go this way, or if they're going to try to go all the way around that mountain and attack from behind. Honestly, with the numbers they have, they could probably do both, especially with Mordor committing his entire force over here. Yeah, it's a little interesting. It might have been easier, honestly, to defend if the Cardolan had maybe focused his entire army on just holding these two bridges over here. But then again, that would kind of just be an entire choke point battle, and that's super interesting to watch. So I am glad that he didn't do that. Green Watch Garrison come in retaking their position where they took all the losses to the Ballista. And yeah, a ton of low tiers coming over here from Son of the Dunedain, as well as Ragnar. A bunch of cheap spears, basically just fodder. And it looks like he is actually going to want to pick a fight here with his Dunlending clansmen against the Greenwatch Garrison footmen. And honestly, this would actually be an interesting fight because they're both really piss-poor cheap spears. But with all the losses the Greenwatch Garrison took to that ballista, the clansmen would probably win. Yeah, because there's actually 253 of them in the unit, so yeah. But honestly, all you need to stop those clansmen is commit maybe one unit of men-at-arms over there. However, unfortunately, if they keep committing things over here, that ballista has a perfect target at anything they blob up over here. And so it's going to be really interesting and difficult to actually defend this little side piece. And you can see that now that these guys have actually gone into tight formation again, Son of the Dunedain might actually target those cheap spears once more. Meanwhile, these poor Edhelm men-at-arms are also getting shot constantly by that ballista. But again, this is just one unit that costs probably 600 with the armor upgrade. So the 1,000 florin Isengard ballista, if it wastes all of its ammo on that one unit, that'll not be a good trade, I would not think at all, for the attackers. Although you can now see some Uruk High archers, as well as some Uruk High reavers pushing forward over this land bridge. The Uruk High archers, I don't know what they're going to fire at. Dalian Marksman going to return fire at these Uruk High archers, try to stop them. Oh, I take it back. He's actually firing at the Uruk High reavers. And pushing up unshielded, low-armored shock infantry like this first is not a great idea, especially because these guys aren't super cheap. So Lengo is definitely going to take advantage of this, and even though they're in loose formation, these Uruk High reavers are still going to take a lot of losses. And ooh, that's a trebuchet. Ooh, that was actually a really nice hit in those White Uruk Fearmongers, taking out a lot of that back rank there. So nice hits there from that trebuchet of Frodo, just proving that trebuchets, while they are incredibly inaccurate, they have insanely good range, which is super nice to have on big maps like this. And we can see that the evil factions are going to be pulling away with their stuff now. Still firing. I don't know what. Yeah, honestly, that's what I mean. Like they're very inaccurate. Oh, and yes, you actually can see that he does have a unit of the Blackback Mountain Berserkers, and these guys are absolutely terrifying for several reasons. The main one being that while most elites have 63 men in the unit, this one actually has 83. And they are 2 hit point, they are AP, and the biggest thing though probably is that they actually have 24 skill. That's 3 more than even the Nazgul in melee. So 24 skill, that's absolutely insane. That's even more than the knife throwers of Mirkwood, as well as the melee bodyguard unit of Mirkwood that both have 22 skill. So this might actually very well be the highest skilled unit in the game. So these guys are super deadly in melee. And with their hit points, they can actually tank a decent amount of arrows before they'll go too quickly. Ooh, those Uruk Reavers down to only 92 men. And unfortunately, Ragnar is actually now going to be making the same mistake of pushing forward unshielded shock infantry first. So Lenga will hopefully be able to target these Saurons will, because they are definitely more damaging and more expensive than the Uruk Reavers. Also, these guys are not even in loose formation. So I really do hope that Lengo is going to be shooting at these guys before they connect with the Edhelm men-at-arms, because the Edhelm men-at-arms will take a ton of losses to those Saurons will. Oh, please shoot at him. Actually, it might have been just a micro mistake, because you can actually see Ragnar pulling back with his Saurons will now. But I really do hope that Lengo will shoot at the backs of, yes, in fact he is. So that's very good. Unfortunate micro mistake by Ragnar there. He's pulling them back. He will take some unnecessary losses. It actually looks like the 68 Uruk Reavers are going to be charging into the men-at-arms now. They would generally be able to do a pretty decent amount of damage, but because they're so few on numbers, they will probably fight for a little bit, do a little bit of damage, but then they will pretty much just rout because they're so outnumbered. Yes, you can see they're actually already shaken and wavering before even getting into the fight. Gonna maybe get a good charge off though, because they are AP shock infantry. Well, unfortunately not the best charge. And this is going to be the first of the melee fights of this battle so far. They are already wavering, unfortunately. And so yes, the Uruk Reavers will get killed pretty shortly. Their AP should serve them quite well. And actually, I take it back, that might not have been the first melee engagement, because over here we've got a ton of clansmen getting butchered by Edhelm men-at-arms, Greenwatch Garrison Spearmen, and some Greenwatch Garrison Footmen. However, the pikes are unfortunately not in a very good formation. However, oh no, Videtis, he unfortunately is starting to wrap around his Edhelm men-at-arms. You can see he's going to try to retreat, which is good, because if he had not retreated, those Edhelm men-at-arms would have taken a horrendous rear charge from those champions of the White Hand, who are still actually going to be able to connect with a few of those men-at-arms that weren't able to fully retreat. Back here, hopefully they will continuously fire at those champions of White Hand. You can see that one of them actually has died already. Back here we've got more champions just kind of sitting back there. And so we'll go back to the main fight because that's where things are still progressing. You can see the Daily Marksmen have taken losses, but they do have good armor and a nice shield value, so they're not going to take a huge amount of losses. There go the Uruk Reavers routing. I don't know how many of these Sarms will he actually kill. Looks like about 30. And it looks like these Uruk archers are out of ammo, which is definitely good for the defenders. They might also be just thrown in melee against the Edhelm men-at-arms, and that's not really a great thing. They are higher in number, of course, than the Reavers, but they still will get beaten in melee by the Edhelm men-at-arms and the Dalian Spears, so it's really not a great call to just kind of commit archers that are out of ammo unsupported like this, because used in a support role, archers that don't have ammo are actually still pretty effective, honestly. Especially Uruk-hai archers, well, I mean especially good factions archers, of course, but even Uruk-hai archers can still play a very important support role when out of ammo. They're going to go charging straight into those Edhelm men-at-arms, silver and blue against that brown and I guess grayish color. And yes, you can see the Edhelm men-at-arms very thin, a very thin rank here, but because of this they would actually maybe even be able to completely surround. They're probably not going to do that because there are some more Goblin infantry right behind and they do not want to get out of the lane. Meanwhile over here, the Dunlending clansmen completely butchered, but here come some Orc fodder as well, but they will fare the same fate. Just kind of throwing away fodder units like this. I mean, melee is probably not super wise. I mean, basically that's what it is there for, but because they're not supported by anything else, particularly archers, that could be firing at the flanks of these pikes, their sacrifice and their deaths won't really count for anything other than getting the defenders more kills. However, just as I said that there are actually archers moving forward now, which is definitely very good, because while the Mordor and Orc archers aren't super great, they do have a good volume of fire, so if they're able to fire directly into the flanks of all these lightly armored pikes, they will be able to cause a great amount of damage. And actually you can see that Lengo is going to be having to return fire into those archers, just try to whittle down their numbers and cut their lethality down by a little bit. Here comes some Mordor infantry as well. These guys do have a little bit more bite to them, of course, than the Orc fodder, but against pikes they will still struggle. However, the pikes, looks like they were not in guard mode, so they are kind of struggling with their positioning right now. You can see Umproto is trying to spread them out a little bit thinner, but again, because they're not in guard mode, they will actually be able to get pushed through easier, and they don't even, they just don't have as good of a formation. And yes, there come the arrows into their flanks as well. Meanwhile, the men-at-arms are still holding relatively well. Oof! Against the Uruk-hai archers, and see, that's what's bad about that ballista back there, is anything they commit here, it just makes it a better target for that ballista. However, thankfully, because they're using it so much so early on, the ballistas will run out of ammo pretty shortly. Well, not shortly, but it will run out of ammo before the elites of the defenders are in danger from it, hopefully. That is, of course, going to be the idea. And over here, Thick Thick going to try to flank around with his Goblin infantry, actually. Going to try to just sneak right around this edge here, but here comes some Dalian Spears, or Lake Town Spearmen, rather, from Lengo to stop their advance. Want to shore up the line there. And yeah, that ballista, man, not okay. I mean, thankfully, it's getting a pretty good amount of friendly fire. Also, these are all pretty cheap units, so it's not super terrible if they're dying from the ballista. They're mainly just wasting the ballista's ammo, which is very good. What happened to the Greenwatch Garrison Footmen? There's the Spears. Oh, they're actually over here. They pulled away. Interesting play from Umfrodo with his pikes, is being very aggressive with them. Not usually what happens when you see pikemen in fights. However, they are going to be able to plug up this hole here. And it looks like they're still maybe not in guard mode, which is kind of interesting and maybe a little bit of a mistake. But still, the Trebuchet now firing into the Moranon archers. And you can see they're killing a few of them, but it's really not worth it because they're in loose formation, so honestly it'd probably be best to save the ammo on that trebuchet, or maybe try to shoot back here, maybe try to hit the Melkor's Chosen or the Olag High or anything back here really. And actually, yeah, there's some Snaga skirmishers from Son of the Dunedain. Uruk crossbows are coming over as well. Some nice team play. They're all committing things over on this side, trying to help each other out. Yeah, trebucheting those archers is not going to be very cost effective. It's not going to be worth it. A lot of the clansmen and orc fodder have fallen down. Brunch garrison footmen and men-at-arms actually rushing forward. Goblin infantry routed, but here comes some heavier heavier units, that being the Urukite infantry. There's actually a second unit of Edhelm men-at-arms over here. And it looks like Horseox YT is committing two units of his Urukite infantry over to this fight. And the Urukite infantry will be able to outclass the remnants of these Edhelm men-at-arms. You can see this unit is actually already thinking about routing. And that is because the Urukite infantry are by no means the standard kind of orc infantry. These guys are actually pretty beast in melee, so you do have to commit heavier units in order to counter them. And yes, you can actually see that Lango is going to be trying to fire into their flanks because he knows that they will be able to best the men-at-arms and the Dale Spears back here. So they're going to have to be trying to use every advantage they can to deal with these heavy Uruks. Meanwhile, we've got some heavy Goblin infantry, basically the exact opposite of Urukite infantry. These guys are actually a little bit weaker than the standard Orc infantry, but they are very high in numbers. And here comes some heavy Goblin spears as well. These guys AP spearmen with shield wall, very good at pushing through pike lines and things like that. Also, they're very good at dealing with armor. So it looks like the fight is kind of starting to begin in full now, as the attackers are committing units pretty much very heavily over here in the center. And there go those men-at-arms, maybe to routing. They're wavering. Yeah, this is a very, very big blob of Urukite infantry here. And yes, they are taking a lot of arrow volleys to the rear as well. Ooh, actually from the front too, you can see the Doran Ernal archers firing a lot of volleys in here as well. But unfortunately, it looks like the defenders don't have enough infantry over here. They've got a ton of archers, but they don't really have a lot of infantry left over here to stem the tide of these Urukite infantry and some Goblin infantry as well. So they've got a few men-at-arms left and a bunch of cheap spears. They won't be able to hold for a super long time against the Urukite infantry. Still, it's been a nice battle so far, I can tell you that. 8 to 14%. As usual, the defenders are going to be winning the percentage in the beginning, or probably for the most part, they will win the percentage for probably the first half, I would say. Of most sieges, the defenders are always winning the percentage, but then once the elites of the attackers start getting into the fight, things definitely begin to even out more. And here comes some Greenwatch Garrison pikemen, but again, they're not going to be able to get into position, it looks like. I mean, they're trying. They're really thinning themselves out, though, so if they get too thin, they won't even really be able to help out that much, unfortunately. There's actually some javelins over here as well, going to hopefully maybe try to... they might be trying to target the heavy goblin spears, which is honestly not bad, because the spears will be able to nullify the pikemen here, just by pushing straight through them. And again, you can see Frodo trying to commit his pikes here, but again, they're going to have a difficult time because they're probably in guard mode now, but they did actually have to push forward, which is not really what pikes are meant to do. So they are going to really struggle with that. You can see there was a javelin volley that went off somewhere over here, taking out a lot of those heavy goblin spears. And again, because the defenders were not really paying attention, it looks like they are going to allow these heavy goblin infantry to flank around their side and charge directly into the back of these pikes and spears over here, and maybe turn the fight back in favor of the attackers. So they need to commit some more infantry over here or do something quick, because they will lose this outer portion of the defense already, and that's not going to be good. Urukite infantry is still pushing forward, however they are starting to think about routing, because they have taken a lot of losses. With these javelins here, that does not help at all. The javelins taking advantage of these heavily blobbed up spears here, going to, get a lot of nice kills. Also, the constant archer fire from that hill there is very nice. Ooh, that's actually a sharpshooter, so it looks like the Dalian marksman pulled off the hill in favor for some of Frodo's crossbows. And that is very good. As long as he doesn't shoot too many into this hill here, it's going to be very, very nice, because these guys will be able to do an obscene amount of damage just by firing into the backs of these crossbows and spears, or into the back of these Urukite infantry and spears. can see one unit of Belfast Marines is actually out of ammo now, going to have to be committed into the fight. They also are not too bad actually in melee because they have active, which means they have a slightly higher attack value than standard infantry like Edhelm Arms. And over here, it looks like the Heavy Goblin Infantry is not going to be attacking the rear of the pikes. They're instead going to be assaulted by the Green Arch Garrison Footmen. And Lenga will probably have to commit these Dalian Marksmen into the fight pretty shortly, because you can see there are some Moran infantry starting to flank around these pikes and spears here. And the pikes are down to only 71 men remaining, so they could get pushed through pretty easily if they are not careful. And there's the Trebuchet. Ooh, narrowly missing, taking out a few of those Black Legion of Barad-dûr, actually maybe just 2 or 3. But yeah, this is definitely a good target because there's a lot of important units over here, like the Executioners, the Olaghai, and the Black Legion, not to mention the Sarans Will. We'll go back over here. Let's see the fight progressing. Yes, you can see the pikes and the spears just didn't have enough troops over here to stop these Moran infantry. Probably the defenders should have committed to their foot archers over here earlier, because you can see now that the Moran infantry are kind of out here. They are shaken because they're technically getting surrounded, but so are the pikes, so it's really not a super great trade. Here comes some more javelins, though, although I'm not sure if these guys have ammo or not. It looks like they're probably the ones that were over here in melee, so they do not have ammo. They will at least provide some more support in terms of infantry. Oh, here come Olaghai. Olaghai are incredibly tough trolls, really good at breaking through pikes, and it's just really difficult to deal with them overall unless you've got AP. And just out of all of these armies, there is not a lot of AP, with the exception of maybe those like Tharbad Warhammers. I think was well, no, the Halberds are AP, but they're back in the Citadel. So those Olaghai, if they're committed here, they will be able to do a lot of damage. It looks like they are in fact going to be committed by Ragnar. It's not a bad call at all because the defenders really don't have anything to answer to those heavily armored trolls. Oh, and there's that ballista coming in from the flank, going to continuously do a lot of damage. And thankfully for the defenders over here, they were able to win this fight, probably because of those crossbows. Here comes some more spears, Heavy Goblin Infantry, Uruk Infantry. Here comes some more Uruk Infantry as well. These are some upgraded ones, so it's slightly higher defense. But again, if they're not able to hold that flank, then they will have to retreat from this position anyway, because they will be getting outflanked from over here. There goes some Belfast Marines routing, unfortunately, and these Green Arch Garrison Footmen will probably follow pretty shortly, which is not good at all. You can see Frodo going to try to commit his pikes, but again, because they weren't there already, they're not going to be in a great position to actually do anything. Belfast Marines routing the wrong way, unfortunately. And yes, here comes some Mountain Orc Berserk as well. AP, shock infantry with low armor, but they do have a hit point to, or I think maybe 2 hit points actually, to help with the arrows. And they can also chant as well. Crossbows either, and now is going to be a really interesting thing. They're going to have to either decide to retreat or commit more stuff here, because they're not going to be able to hold here with what they have. So now there comes a time for a hard decision, I guess. Honestly, it would maybe be a good idea to retreat. I don't know though. It's gonna be difficult either way. You can see these pikes not in a good position, dealing with trolls and infantry. They're gonna be defeated really quickly here. But the thing is, if they are hesitant about what they want to do, they will not only lose they will not only lose this outer area, but they will lose important units like crossbows that are actually now retreating, and the trebuchet that is also retreating as well. So it looks like they will be able to pull back with their important assets, which is nice. So they are going to be retreating, it looks like. Well, here comes some Rangers. Dol Amroth, one of the few factions that can still bring 2 body-piercing units, but it looks like he only brought 1, this being the Blackroot Vale Rangers, or Archers rather. Going to be firing, looks like into the Uruk infantry, maybe into those Mountain Orc Berserkers as well. There's some Uruk pikemen as well. The pikes are going to be kind of annoying because the Barding Herd don't have the range. However, there are still a lot of Dor and Urnil pikes, which are going to be okay at dealing with the Uruk pikemen. But also the defenders, of course, still have a lot of skirmishers to deal with pikes as well. However, Videtus is going to be wanting to thinking about retreating with his Javelin or with his Rangers here, because this front line is not going to hold for very long, especially as another troll unit is committed to the fight. And back here, yeah, it looks like they have completely broken through. This would honestly be a nice target for those Rangers, but they're going to have to unfortunately retreat. Olaghai giving chase to the Laketown bows. There are still 11 of them. And oh, you can bet that the Olaghai are going to try to chase after those Rangers if they are able to. However, there are some more Dalian marksmen. Yes, see, now it becomes the actual siege. Because there are now Rangers, or there are now Archers on the walls, there are full-on walls. Not really gates, but still. you can see that there are still a lot of defending units out here. There's crossbows, barding herds, spears, so the defenders are still definitely not out of it. However, they do need to be careful of protecting specific units like the trebuchet, the rangers, and units like that. And unfortunately, looks like Frodo and Videtus are going to commit a spear and a pike to try to chase off those Olaghai there from getting after the Rangers. But here come some champions of the White Hand from Son of the Dunedain, and they may be able to catch those Rangers. However, there are a bunch of pikes right here as well, and they're also actually taking archer fire. And yes, it looks like he is going to have to retreat with his champions. So narrowly missing the Rangers and the Trebuchet. So some good play by Videtus and Frodo at protecting their important assets. But honestly, he needs to pull back with this pike unit. It'll be very important in the defense. Oh no, Horsey Hawks, why? I mean, he charged into the Fedora Internal pikes, which, with a knight unit, and you can see he did cause a lot of damage, but that's mainly because they were out of formation. But you can see he stayed in melee for maybe a little bit too long because he did take a few unnecessary losses. That probably wasn't the greatest trade in the world, especially because these knights are very expensive. And oh, he's going back for more. But the thing, yeah, see if Videtus turns around. He tried to turn around, but yeah, see if Videtus turns around, yeah, those knights are going to go down very quickly. These are piping. However, it looks like yeah, that's about a third of the unit gone. However, a lot of these pikemen have also fallen. Here come some trolls, and the trolls, of course, are actually very nice at taking out pikemen. Pikemen generally are not going to be super great against trolls, so it looks like this will be the end of that unit. Sacrificed to allow the other units to continue their retreat. And yeah, man, geez, Horsey Hawks is really being aggressive here with his knights. He's only got about half of them left now. And Videtus wants to take out these pikemen, or wants to take out those champions there. He knows his pikemen can win this fight. And again, charging headlong into pikemen. I mean, they're not full-on in formation, but as soon as they drop those pikes, they're going to be able to take out more of those champions of the White Hand. And that is probably not the wisest move there from Horsey Hawks to charge directly into pikes like that. However, Videtus does need to be careful. He does not want to get caught out by those trolls either, so he should probably pull back. Although, yes, every time you're getting chased by knights with pikes, make sure you turn your pikes around when they charge, because you can see it will cause a lot of damage to those knights. But it looks like Videtus is actually going to lose a second unit of pikemen here, due to these trolls. Champions of the White Hand actually thinking about routing. There's only 6 of them left, so that's going to be pretty much it for that unit. Here comes some snow trolls as well, so yeah, it looks like this might be the end of this second pike unit. You can see Dalian marksmen firing down at these snow trolls, though it's not going to do a ton of damage because they do have hit points. Very interesting, to say the least, play here by both Videtus and particularly from Horsey Hawks YT charging his knights into those pikes. Although, to be fair, while he did lose pretty much that entire pike unit, or pretty much that entire knight unit, he was able to take out 2 full units of pikes from Dol Amroth, so it might actually not have been such a bad trade after all. Because yeah, trolls, those 2 units of trolls just butchering those poor pikemen. And wow, that was actually not the worst play. That was actually not bad at all things considered. I mean, he did lose that knight unit, but he was able to take out 2 full units of pikes, which in a defense like this, where knights aren't going to be super effective and pikes will be incredibly effective, that's not a bad trade whatsoever. About Warhammers, Swordmasters of Karn, yeah, Dale, Lango didn't have really anything out here besides those archers, so he still has pretty much his entire army. Meanwhile, Isengard, Misty Mountains, Mordor, all moving forward across the land bridge as they are now victorious. And going to be continuously marching forward. They did take losses, but not an insane amount of losses. 29 to 27, so the percentage is back in favor of the attackers, actually. Uruk crossbows and more infantry moving around the flank. There's the Melkor's Chosen, Snaga skirmishers. Oh, and actually here's some more Snaga skirmishers. See, this is kind of the situation where you would kind of want or wish you had maybe a light cavalry unit, some lancers that are fast, just to try to rush out, maybe take out units that are just by themselves in here, like the Snaga skirmishers. Just try to charge them down real quickly. That'd be nice. But you do, of course, you would have to be careful of using something like those Chosen and Champions of the White Hand. So it would be a risky. It'd be really risky if you wanted to bring cavalry or not. I would probably only do it if you could bring something that's really fast, like maybe some Elven Lancers or like the Numenorean Lancers. Ooh, and right here, I'm Frodo with a very excellent positioning here for his Minotaur Roman Guardians on this little rampway here. He's going to be able to obliterate anything that comes through this pathway here and he gets stuck up on the Dor and Urnal pikes and tier that are Wardens. But again, there are still a lot of trolls, and the trolls are going to be difficult, I think, for the defenders to deal with in general. But yeah, that was actually really interesting. Charging to the pikes, he took a ton of losses to his knights, but it slowed the pikes down long enough to be caught out by the trolls, so both of those units of pikemen were completely destroyed in return for the champions of the White Hand also being pretty much taken away. So yeah, really interesting. We'll have to see if that actually does pay out for him later on. But I think I'll go ahead and just stay still for a while because I believe this is going to be another slow part as the attackers once again decide what they want to do. Like, I'm not going to shoot at these trolls, of course. They're a little too close to the wall. He'd have to really arc his shots. And again, being trolls, they have a lot of hit points. They're willing to take losses to arrows like that. However, I did notice that the cave trolls actually do have a step that says weak to, I think, missile fire, something like that, skirmishers, something like that. But I'm assuming that's mainly just going to be javelins and maybe crossbows and axe throwers. They're probably not going to be just stinging foot archers that they're weak to. I may actually... Oh, actually, the Minuscarithlin sharpshooter is going to be firing at something. Firing at orc archers. I mean, they're at a good firing position, and they are taking some archer fire, but honestly, I would just not fire and I would honestly just not fire at them, because orc archers are pretty cheap, and they're not going to cause a lot of damage. I mean, if you're going to fire at something, it would probably be better to fire at the Mornon archers. And the Minuscarithlin sharpshooters do have a shield bonus as well as good armor, so they will be able to tank most of these arrows, so it's kind of a waste, I would think, firing at those low-tier archers like that, so hopefully he will stop pretty shortly. Especially because the crossbows are going to be extremely important later on when they're having to deal with units like Nazkai and Executioners. So it looks like that actually was the last ball he might fire. Yes, it is. So that is definitely good for him to stop firing there. He's going to take a few losses, but for the most part, he's just going to be wasting the arrows at Ragnar, which is of course going to be very good. Oh, here's some Dunedain Rangers. I don't know what they're firing at. Hopefully not the Orc Archers. Uruk Infantry looks like they've taken some losses. Orc Fodder down to 95. Looks like the Rangers were firing at the Uruk Infantry. And they're not blobbed up. They're not in loose formation either, but still not going to be a great target because they're not blobbed up. And again, Dunedain Rangers are going to be incredibly important later on once the chokepoint battles really get intense. Over here, though, Ragnar has taken a lot of losses to his Moronon infantry, although he still has a lot of elites. He's got his Executioners, his Black Legion, he's got his Moronon Heavy Maulers, he's got Javelins, he's also got Siren Will, so he's still definitely got a lot of very scary units, including his Olaghai, who are still at 11 men remaining, or 11 trolls, I guess, remaining. Yeah, still a lot of trolls. And here come the Orc Archers around the flank, as well as some Snaga Skirmishers, who are actually wavering here. Going to try to soften up this defense right here, which is going to be very nice, which will be a very nice thing to do if they can pull it off, because you can see these tier 3 wardens are actually in shield wall and they're mixed in with the pikes, so if they're able to throw javelin volleys here, it'll cause a lot of damage. They're taking skirmish fire, but it looks like they will still be able to, yes, they are in fact going to be able to get a volley off. Snaga Skirmishers not, oh, they routed, but they'll probably come back. Yeah, Snaga Skirmishers, not the deadliest javelins in the world, but they can still cause damage, especially units that are so blocked up like this. There's actually some Orc Archers as well, going to try to soften up this position. But again, with the heavily armored spears there, the pikes shouldn't probably take too much damage. Oh, but over here, you can see that, oh no, the Ballista took out a lot of Barding Herd, a lot of these tier 3 wardens, and some Dor and Urnal pikemen. And unfortunately, Videtus is going to keep his spearmen here. Oh no! Okay, no, he's actually getting... What is he doing? Please don't sally out. I think there's trolls still out here. Yes, there are. Please do not sally out. You will regret it. Spearmen do not do well against trolls. No, we're just going to rearrange them a little bit. But still, we're going to take losses to that ballista. Surprisingly, both Isengard ballistas have not been using fire arrows. But even still, you can see that area of effect damage still causing a huge amount of casualties here to those particularly spearmen. It looks like the wardens took the most casualties there to that ballista. Yeah, oh geez, this is a long one. Only not even halfway. And again, this is going to be another skirmish phase. The defenders are going to be trying to hold and shoot at specific targets. Meanwhile, the attackers, rather, sorry, will be trying to soften up the pike lines and spear walls and stuff like that. So it'll be, again, just be kind of a slower part in the battle. Maybe speed it up just a little bit more. Because I don't want this one to be like 3 hours long. Still though, not bad at all, considering it's a 3v4 on a huge map like this, on huge setting. Also, it's 99 to 100%, so I'm great battle. Still, 31 to 31, the percentages are actually dead even at the moment. Orc fodder going to prevent any units from sallying out. Notice the Snaga skirmishers back again, but once again already shaken. Orc archers going to be taking fire from the Doran Ernil archers. But again, the Orc archers have a lot of men in the unit, and they are going to be mainly just wasting the Doran arrows. Ooh, but there's the Uruk crossbows from Son of the Dunedain. And the crossbows, I think they're firing, yeah, they are indeed firing at this front line. And they will be able to cause a really obscene amount of damage to that block there. Which is why, if we go back here, you will actually see, oh, there's the town that's in Isengard. You will actually see the Dalian Royal Guard and the Minotaur Roman Guardians firing at those crossbows, trying to take them out before they cause too much damage. They've already killed about 20 of them. And this is actually a really nice firing position, although unfortunately, looks like this left half of the unit of crossbows is firing directly into that mountain. Crossbows at 87 men remaining now, although you can see the bodies of the pikes and spears are starting to pile up now. So they are still being able to cause a lot of damage. Down to 75 men remaining. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at the other choke point. Again, looks like nothing has really progressed here. And again, this is going to be a very nasty battle. If the pikes and spears set up right here, these crossbows will be able to have a field day, as well as the javelins just firing right into the flanks of anything the attackers commit there. So no wonder they're not going to commit there right now. Or no wonder they're hesitant to commit there. Meanwhile, yeah, you can see a lot of those pikes have gone down, but still not a ton of them. But ooh, yeah, those crossbows still firing. There are 63 of them left over, and there are more of them to come because, of course, there are 2 Isengard armies, and I believe both of them brought 2 crossbows. So this is only 1 unit of crossbows, while there are actually 4 of them in total. Oh, and look at this, Dalian Royal Guard actually able to sneak down here as well. Oh, that's a nice little firing position. I mean, you might shoot into the hill a little bit, but still, it's not a bad position to fire down from. Minotaur Roman Guardians have stopped firing at the Uruk crossbows. Gonna maybe want to wait for heavier infantry rather than to fire at crossbows instead. So it looks like they might just let the crossbows fire, which is going to result in a lot of casualties, but still there's really nothing you can do about it. Videt's committing his Doran Ernil archers that are out of ammo to fight against the Orc fodder. And ooh, where even are the pikes? Did the pikes just retreat? Oh yeah, they're back there. 98 of the pikes left over. And honestly, yeah, the crossbows, because they ignore shield values, which I'm pretty sure they still do, the Tier 3 Wardens will still take a lot of losses to those crossbows, even though there's only like 60 of them remaining. Meanwhile, ooh, oh boy, that ballista, he just needs to pull these spearmen out of there. Get them out of there, man. Tier 3 Warden is getting completely wiped by that ballista there. Meanwhile, I don't know where where the other attackers can actually come from elsewhere. So this is one area, so once more another gate. But honestly, this one looks like the one that has the least in terms of defense, and looks like this would be the best area to attack from, mainly because there are no ramps that the attackers could put, or no, there are no ramps the defenders, sorry, could put crossbows or javelins from. So honestly, if I was attacking, I'd maybe march my army around here and try to attack from this way. Well, there are some river patrol up on that wall, but again, the angle is kind of awkward, so it wouldn't be super easy to attack from. And here's the final way to attack from as well. So it looks like there are about 4 entries into this settlement. A very nice settlement. Again, I haven't actually played on it, but it looks very fun to use. Or very fun to play on. More infantry, archers. I don't know where the crossbows are. Maybe they're out of ammo. And actually, The tier 3 Warden's being committed to the fight now, because some Uruk infantry has also been committed. Here comes some pikes, but they're going to take some javelin volleys on their way in. So it looks like the assault has begun now, maybe. Maybe. I mean, you can still see how far away Mordor is, and how far away the two Isengard players and Misty Mountains are. Although you can see Isengard moving forward now, which is nice. So they might be finally attacking. Well, not finally. I guess they might continuing their attack. Okay, there are still a lot of nasty units out here, but then again, the same can be said for the defenders. They've still got a lot of very deadly units themselves. But for now, since this is the main infantry fight, I guess we can go ahead and look at this one, or go ahead and look at this area for now. So the spear is going to be able to hold okay against the Uruk infantry, but again, the Uruk infantry are really a nice sword and shield infantry, so they will be able to cut their way through those spears eventually. Also, the pikemen, they're not in a great formation, so they'll do okay, but again, not super great. They will do better than the spears, mainly because the Uruk pikemen, or the Uruk spearmen will actually be able to reach them. But still, they're using a lot of their pikes pretty early on, which is going to make it really difficult to deal with the Uruk pikemen. I think there are actually still 6, maybe 5 or 6 units of pikes, or of Uruk pikemen left overall. So yeah, they're going to be relatively difficult to deal with. They're probably going to have to focus a lot of their skirmish fire on those pikemen. Orc javelins, or Snaga skirmishers, sorry, firing into the northmen archers who are out of ammo. So it's not good. It's not looking super great. A lot of the skirmishers are running out of ammo, particularly for Dol Amroth. Meanwhile, there are only 8 of these Uruk crossbows left. But again, that was actually some nice positioning from both Lengo and from Frodo with their crossbows and archers alike, being able to take out a lot of the Uruk crossbows. And here comes some Uruk infantry, maybe trying to outflank. It looks like they're trying to sneak around the flank, but they're probably not going to be able to do it super effectively. Yeah, it looks like these pikes are pushing forward here, so they're definitely in guard mode, and that is not good. Pikes pushing forward generally does not end well. There's some Minsc and Spearmen back there to support. Meanwhile, in the other area of interest has not had the fights start quite yet. Snaga skirmishers from Thick Dick. Isengard ballista, so it looks like Son of the Dunedain's ballista is now out of ammo. Although I'm not sure if the same could be said for Horsey Hawks. I'll have to look around and see if it is somewhere around here. He might still have a low there. I don't know, actually. Interesting. We'll have to see. It looks like it might actually be out of ammo, though, because I don't see it anywhere. Unless he's, like, making a really far move with it. But yeah, again, the pikes pushing forward here, getting out of formation, that's really not good. Pikes, of course, excel when they're in formation and really aren't the greatest when they're out of it. So they will take a lot of losses with this push here. Although, to be fair, they are cutting down a number of these Uruk infantry now, which is nice. There's some more non-infantry in here as well, trying to support the Isengarders. And oof, they took so many losses here to just that one unit of Uruk crossbows. So really not great. Oh yeah, there's still 3 Edhelm Halberdiers, there's still Belfloss Marines, so yeah. There's still definitely a long battle ahead of us, just as we're getting closer to halfway. Interesting, okay. So yeah, they're just definitely all spread out pretty thinly. Well, not pretty thinly, actually, because it's not the biggest settlement in the world. I mean, it's big, don't get me wrong, but it's not like super huge. So with 3 players to defend it, they're not going to have to spread themselves out too thin, which is actually very good, especially when you go to use settlements like Orthanc, which is just one huge circle, so it's super hard to defend, even with 3 defending armies. However, yeah, Uruk crossbows are 8, trying to take shots wherever they can. Just kind of trying to fire into this block. Dor and Archer is actually thinking about routing. Really not great, because if they do, then that will lose a lot of numbers over here. The Uruk infantry will be able to overwhelm the remaining pikes and spearmen. Also, I believe, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out, because if the Dor and Archers rout, oh, actually, I think that. With the Dornell archers not ready, you'll be fine. Actually, I take that back too, because here comes some Olaghai. And with the Olaghai, all of these units are not AP, and they don't have high skill or anything like that, so they will not do very good at all against these Olaghai. So Ragnar definitely racking up the kills with his Olaghai here. And be able to butcher his way through those archers, spearmen, and pikemen. So they're actually thinking about routing as it is. So honestly, you might want to consider pushing forward some halberds, either Lango or Dol Amroth, because he has 2 of Edhelm halberdiers. Because if they don't, you can see the and there goes the pikes routing. Tier 3 wardens are broken, and just like that, the defense over here has been completely broken. So if they're not careful, they're going to have to put something over here just to slow them down for a little bit. Actually, here's some Minnesota sharpshooters maybe coming down on this hill, trying to give some support that way. But it looks like the attackers are going to be content just with taking out those units. Looks like they actually don't want to continue their assault. And man, those trolls, dude, they're so freaking fast. Did you see how quickly they just ran out of there? No, I'm just kidding. It's because it's on 1.3 speed. But still, nevertheless, they are still fast. But yeah, here comes some Minnesota spearmen. And again, spearmen against the Mornon archers, they should do alright, but against the Uruk infantry, they will definitely struggle. So they're going to probably have to commit some heavier units over here if they want to continue to hold this point during the time. And the Lake Town spears are actually even worse than the Minnesota spears, so pretty much the same boat for that. Although there are some halberds over here, finally. The halberds actually will be able to do good against both the infantry and against trolls. So hopefully they will stay over here, but again, they are taking some arrows, maybe bolts, I can't tell, we'll look back. A few bolts, but mostly arrows looks like, so they're not going to take an obscene amount of losses. And yeah, these spears kind of out here on their lonesome, not being supported by the halberds, but again, that's kind of how it looks like it's going to be. Black Reveal archers and Minnesota sharpshooters taking advantage of these very blobbed up forces, going to cause a lot of damage, really. You can see a lot of those Uruk infantry going down to the crossbows. $39 to 38, so barely in favor of the attackers at the moment. But it should probably even out pretty shortly here with those crossbows constantly firing, causing a lot of damage. Over here, we got Isengard Ballista facing off against those tier wardens, just staring each other down. Over here, 6 champions the way hand. Honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea to charge these champions directly into these Lake Town bowmen. It would not be a bad call at all. It looks like he's not going to do so. Also, back here it looks like most of Horsey Hawks' forces are going to attack from this angle, and that's I personally think that's smart. This is where I would attack from if I were an attacker, because it's the least defended currently, and also there's the least room for skirmishers to cause a lot of damage on this particular choke point there. But if we look back to the other fight, you can see that the halberds actually did push forward because the advance of the Olaghai once again. And the Olaghai will struggle against the Edhelm halberdiers because the Edhelm halberdiers are, of course, AP. However, because they are supported by Uruk infantry and a bunch of other units, they won't go down super quickly, although you can see one just died. So this might be the end of the Olaghai of Ragnar. There goes another one, and another one. So if Ragnar does not pull back with his Olaghai, he probably will lose his unit Olaghai here. Although, to be fair, they have done a lot of work so far. Only 5 remaining, and here come the Minnesota sharpshooters, and unfortunately they're out of ammo already, and they were constantly firing here, which wasted a lot of their ammo, but again, he did use, like, I think 3 or 4 full volleys just firing at some low-tier archers. That was probably not the best use of the crossbows there. But again, these guys are AP macemen in melee. They got one-handed mace, so they are AP. So again, they should do okay, honestly, against the trolls and against the Uruk infantry and the other units like that. And there is still some skirmish fire going on. It looks like this time from Dunedain Rangers. So some BP gonna try to fire in there, but again, the infantry isn't super blobbed up anymore, so they won't get a ton of kills. They'll get killed, but they won't get an absolute ton. Only 2 Olaghai left, one normal Olaghai and the other being an officer. Okay, a little bit of a push here from the remaining attacking infantry, but for the most part, it looks like the attack has been stalled now, with the exception of those Olaghai who are still fighting ferociously. And over here, yes, the Uruk archers actually, or no, the Blade 10 bowmen actually rushed forward and tried to take out those champions of the right hand. We're able to kill 2 of them. But they're actually shaken. Ooh, they're going to get a nice charge off though. Ooh, directly into the Blade 10 bows. One of the champions going down. So you can see they're just mowing their way through those poor low-tier archers. Blade 10 River Patrol actually took a lot of losses to skirmish fire of some sort as well. Oh, and here comes Uruk-hai infantry actually. So it looks like Horsey Hawks might be wanting to get into the fight now. Over on this end, that is. So it looks like Lengo might want to commit his Barding Herd, or set up his Barding Herd and Earls of Esgaroth right here to stop the infantry from just, just running through all the streets kind of rampant. So hopefully he will move his Barding Herd over a little bit. You can see Uruk-hai infantry giving chase to those Lake bows. They actually stopped. Interesting. I don't know quite what they're doing. Minuscule archers up there, firing at whatever they can. Looks like they're trying to target down those Uruk-hai pikes, which is very good. These pikemen are going to be difficult to deal with at this point, because Dol Amroth for the most part had the rest of the pikemen, and they're pretty much all dead for the most part, I believe. Ooh, though, this is a nice, actually, this is actually a nice angle to see, because the defenders are actually deploying their units a little further back. That actually does provide an excellent target for the skirmishers that are up in the wall. They can fire directly into the rear of these units. So actually, take it back, this might not be the best place to attack them, because you can see those javelins getting some really nasty volleys off into the back of the infantry and pikemen right there. And just imagine if you had some body piercing. Ooh. And just imagine if you had some body piercing or some crossbows over on the walls. Oh my goodness, those javelins causing so much damage. The Uruk-hai pikemen actually thinking about routing before getting even in the fight. However, you probably noticed that there was a ballista bolt that fired in there, taking out a number of the Earls of Esgaroth and the Barding Herd. So it looks like Horsey Hawks does have ammo left over. However, because he did actually commit some units over here, he is going to be unable to continue firing for fear of friendly fire. But yeah, the Uruk-hai infantry and the pikemen, their pikemen routed, the infantry going to follow suit pretty shortly here. So yeah, very costly first advance from Horsey Hawks YT. There are some minuscule archers up here as well. So again, these guys will be able to fire directly into the flanks or into the backs of any units that are committed here. Although the Barding Herd and Earls of Esgaroth, you can see, are going to move directly back behind this building, not wanting to get taken out by that ballista any more than necessary. Well, over here, looks like all of the Olaghai have fallen, though most of the halberds have also been taken out. It's mostly just minuscule sharpshooters and minuscule spearmen over here, although the spearmen are thinking about routing. There are some Moranon heavy maulers, some nice AP in here. There are also some infantry and some Dunmerling veterans as well. So the fight is getting a little bit nastier now. Some better units getting committed. And against Cardolan, the AP of the maulers will be good. Although currently, looks like they're kind of just pushing straight through. Interestingly enough, but they will get stopped pretty shortly here. And of course, the maulers are incredibly weak to missile fire. And currently, yeah, the Rangers are firing directly at them. So a lot of these maulers are going to go down very quickly. You can see, actually, they're already only at 120, whereas just a few seconds ago it seemed like they were at 170. So yeah, just like that, those skirmishers really deadly. But back over here, yeah, just look how many Uruk-hai died to those javelins. Really, a very cost-effective unit. When used correctly, those Lake River Patrol are very cost-effective. Although by now they are probably out of ammo. You can see they are in fact walking around with their swords. So that means they are pretty much spent with ammo. And they're not great in melee either, so they're just going to do okay. Oh, what is going on here? He's rushing his Uruk-hai crossbows and his trolls into melee. So I assume... Interesting. So he must have been using his crossbows to gun down all of these minuscule archers here. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah, here come the crossbows as well as some trolls of the White Hand. Unfortunately, this time Lengo is not able to set up his Barding Herd and Earls of Esgaroth. So if Horsey Hawks wants to, he could just rush units straight this way into the Blacker Vale Archers and Lake Town Bowmen and just continuously move all the way through. And again, the trolls very hard hitters, of course, but against the AP Barding Herd, they will definitely struggle. And here, he's actually going to be committing a lot more units. Well, not a lot, but a second unit of pikes, as well as his Guards of Orthanc, which is his General's bodyguard. You can see Sauron on there. So if he honestly is probably going to lose his General here, especially with these minuscule archers going to be able to fire directly into the backs of the Guards of Orthanc and the Uruk pikemen. So this may actually be the end of Orsiak's YT's army, for the most part anyway. I mean, he's still got some stuff back here, I think. Okay, he's still got... Oh, never mind. He's got his Ballista, he's got his Nazkai, he's got one more unit of pikes. But he's committing his general pretty early on, I would say. It's probably not the best call. And ooh, these Blackroot Vale archers, these rangers. Very nice volley, as you can, or very nice view, as you can tell from their volley shooting directly to those pikemen. And yeah, those pikes, after the volleys from the rangers and from the minuscule archers from the rear, already down to only 82 men remaining. Guards of Orthanc have a little bit better armor, but again, if they continuously get shot in the back, they will die very quickly. Crossbow's not great in melee. Unfortunately, the Trolls of the White Hand are not being used to silence these rangers. Oh, and here comes some javelins. The Belfast Marines, if they those Guards of Orthanc, those Guards of Orthanc will get absolutely shredded. And there's some more minuscule archers back there. So far, it's been a really nice fight. Really good plays by everyone involved so far. And ooh, yeah, those constant volleys in the rear. Javelin's actually going after the Trolls, surprisingly not the Guards of Orthanc. I hope he goes after the Guards of Orthanc, all things, well, honestly. Ooh, and yeah, those Rangers firing through that entire unit of Guards of Orthanc. Yeah, those Trolls doing a good job against the Archers, Halberds, and particularly against the Earls. Yeah, he is now firing at the Guards of Orthanc with his javelin, but unfortunately, he's not actually going to be getting caught in melee by them. Yeah, this will almost like 100% be the end of his general's life. I believe this was where his general's body was. If we can find him, it'd be nice, of course. I mean, there's Sauron, but I don't see the slightly fancy looking Orc there. Oh well, yeah, the pikes, only 12 of them remaining, so not great. Meanwhile, here we've got another unit of the Doran Urnil pikemen. So it looks like most of the macemen and spears of Cardolan were taken out. And another kind of smaller push, I guess you could say, from the attackers on this side. You've got a pretty healthy unit of more on infantry. There's some javelins back there. There's some more done better. Ooh, but here comes, maybe not. I'm gonna say here comes some hard hitters, but no. Black Legion just kind of sitting there, and the Sirens will taking a lot of losses because of that excellent positioning of the Dalian Royal Guard up here. Very nice to know that you can actually put archers and stuff right here. Just imagine if you could put maybe even like a ballista or like a catapult up here, and maybe be able to somehow angle it down there. Well, actually, I know you could probably put a catapult up here, and if they could put their ballista or Lango's ballista or the trebuchet up here and just fire directly into that blob, that would be insane. Where's the Minotaur Roman Guardians? Oh well, I guess you can't see him for now. And there's the ballista, and the trebuchet actually. No, the fight in the front actually has begun. It looks like some Heavy Goblin Spears, the Isengard Ballista have all been committed over here. Heavy Goblin Crossbows down to only 24, so they definitely took a lot of skirmish fire. Actually, looks like they're getting shot by the Ballista. Uruk Pikes, Heavy Goblin Spears, Heavy Goblin Spears. But again, for the most part, this front gate is really not getting attacked by all that much. Oh, and yes, it looks like Vedetus did bring his second unit of Rangers, that being the Nimrodel Rangers. The second unit of BP. We'll go back over here and see the end of the Guards of Orthanc. Ooh, those Earls of Esgaroth took a lot of losses. The Barding Herd also down to only 61. So those Trolls really deadly, but the Trolls are now all dead. I don't see the Guards of Orthanc, but I also didn't see the General guy thing, so... What? Maybe he was able to retreat with them? I highly doubt it. I don't know. No, he was actually. He was able to pull back with his Guards of Orthanc. So his General is still alive at the time being. You can actually see him standing right there. He's a little bit bloodied up, but he's okay for the most part. Looks like the Ballista is out of ammo. He's still got his pike, one unit of pikemen and one unit of Nazkai somewhere around here. Well, there's the pikes, but I don't know where the Nazkai are. Looks like they might pull back from that engagement and maybe try to help out in the center, where things are still definitely in favor of the defenders. Meanwhile, in this back choke, things are still looking pretty close, but it looks like it's... Yeah, it looks like the attackers are starting to get the advantage over here. Orc Javelins firing into this blob of halberdiers and Lake Town Spearmen. Going to cause a lot of carnage in that big old blob. Looks like Lake Town Spears might actually rush forward. Nope, actually just going to try to get out of the way of the Javelins. Same goes for the Edhelm Halberdiers, not wanting to get taken out by those very cheap, very cost-effective Orc Javelins. And here come the Mordor infantry, down to only 99 men remaining. But without the support of the halberds, these 91 spears will get killed off by those Mordor infantry. Oh, there's actually more than 90 men. There's a second unit that's at like 51, so yeah, the spears will definitely get taken out. Minotaur, here's the Minotaur Roman Guardians, and it looks like they are in fact out of ammo, unfortunately, so the defenders are really running out of ammo really quickly, particularly in their crossbows, and that is not good, because of there's still 2 units of Nazkai, still 2 units of Black Legion. There's still also these Champions of the White Hand. There's also the Temple Executioners. A lot of elites left over that probably would have been much better targets for the crossbows. I can Spears actually thinking about routing. Here comes a unit of dominating veterans into the fight as well. But with the halberds here, the fight should probably go to the defenders, at least for the time being, until more units are committed. There's some Hearthguard of them and Sewell marching over as well. Yeah, it looks like Horseyhawk's YT has had enough of this fight. He does not want to go there any longer. So yeah, it looks like I was definitely wrong about that being the best place to attack from. As long as the defenders put their spears and stuff a little further back, you will get absolutely shredded from behind. So definitely not a great place to attack from. So Horseyhawks has had enough of that. He's going to take his 3 remaining, 4 maybe, surviving units back around the other way, because he has taken a lot of losses. 56 to 60%, so still very close. Spears. There is still 1 more unit of crossbows. Here in the center, the Dalian marksmen fighting against the heavy Goblin spears and the Isengard ballistas still. The other Warhammers, Swordmasters of Karnan. Hearthguard of and Sewell must be out of ammo as well. Oh my gosh, they're using... How? How are all of these units out of ammo already? I didn't even see them shooting at anything. I mean, they must have been shooting at crossbows, I guess, but still, not good to be running out of ammo with so many units so quickly. Orc Javelins out of ammo. There's a second evil Orc Javelins coming in, though this one still does have ammo. And very interesting to see, a very interesting fight overall. Very entertaining one, I must say, as well. Back here, Dol Amroth still has a lot of his elites. He's got 2 Talon Knights as well as the Haven Guard, so very, very deadly infantry. Guarding Herd, Earls of Esgaroth, like Swordmasters of Karnan, or Halberds, like Counter Patrol. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this fight progresses, because they're going to have to leave at least these units over here to make sure nothing comes over here, especially maybe a random unit like Knights. Just running through the city would not be good. But yeah, for the most part, it looks like Horseyhawks is definitely not liking that engagement, so he's going to decide to pull back over here for the time being. He'll play the waiting game until his allies manage to break through a little bit, and then he will commit his units to their final fight. Heavy Goblin crossbows at 24. Going to be committed to the fight. We're actually trying to get up on this hill here, try to fire into the sides of those Dalian marksmen. Not a bad idea at all. So the Dalian marksmen really struggling against those AP Heavy Goblin spears, as you can tell. AP very nasty overall against units like Dalian marksmen who have pretty good armor. Meanwhile, Swordmasters of Karnan have also been committed over here because the infantry is really starting to struggle. Dúnedain Rangers out of ammo now. So Swordmasters of Karnan over here because most of the halberds are dead. Fighting against the Mordor infantry. A little hard to tell who's who, but that's just going to be similar colors between the Swordmasters and the Orc Javelins and Mordor infantry. Here come the Lake Town River Patrol as well that are out of ammo. Going to make sure no units come flanking this way. There's some routing infantry. Oh, here come the champions of the White Hand from Son of the Dúnedain. And these guys, if they want to, could probably barge straight through this Lake Town River Patrol, and that would be incredibly bad. And see, the unfortunate thing is the defenders don't have any spears here besides these 2 Talon Halberdiers. So yeah, even if just stuck in melee like this, these champions of the White Hand will still be able to butcher a ton of those Lake Town River Patrol. so they probably need to get shooting at them. Looks like the Hearthguard are actually not out of ammo, thankfully, because they are pulling out their bows now, which is good. Very good. I was like, I didn't even see them shooting at anything. How were they out of ammo already? But no. So it looks like everything's okay in terms of that respect. Meanwhile, so that's basically the only fight where the area where the fight is still continuing. All those crossbows looks like we're taken out, with the exception of 3. Parting Herd and Daily Marksman were enough to take out the spears and the Isengard ballista. Oh, no, these poor Minuscule sharpshooters getting targeted by the heavy goblin crossbows. It looks like they were actually the ones that took out those crossbows, which is unfortunate and maybe a little bit unnecessary, honestly, to use an entire volley against just 24 heavy goblin crossbows, especially when they were probably only shooting at the Daily Marksman. Although they could have been firing at these crossbows themselves, so I don't know. Interesting. Still, though, these crossbows continuously firing. I think all 3 of them can fire, yes, none of them are officers. They can all 3 fire. Oh, might be a little bit of a push here. Nope, just Snaga skirmishers coming up, going to try to take a piece out of the Parting Herd, who are going to pull back because of it.
The enemy are badly bloodied. They have lost half their men.
Another of the attackers now down to half their men. 59 to 66, so it's going a little bit more in favor of the defenders now than it had been previously. Over here, though, the Lake Town River Patrol, Swordmasters of Karn and Dunedain Rangers started to struggle a little bit more. They were able to cut down most of the Orc Javelins and most of the Moran infantry. However, there is another unit of Moran heavy maulers here. However, this is Ragnar's final unit of Moran heavy maulers, and that pretty much does it for him in terms of AP, except for, I think he still has his Sauron's Will, but they were taking a lot of skirmish fire, so I don't know how healthy they are. They're at 110. And of course, he still has deadly units like the Temple Executioners and the Black Legion, but he has taken a ton of losses in that fight back here. He's just been committing so much, but unfortunately, he really hasn't been able to cause a lot of damage here. I mean, he's been able to kill, actually, I take it back. He has been able to cause a lot of damage, he just hasn't been able to break through. Meanwhile, the Hearthguard of Amon Sul actually taking a lot of javelin volleys from those Orc javelins there. Something might be out of ammo. Nope, take it back. Out of ammo. And here's some Snaga skirmishers coming in here as well. These guys, of course, still do have ammo. And if the 199 javelins go straight to this Hearthguard of Amon Sul, they will take a lot of losses. There go the Moran infantry to routing. The heavy maulers will probably follow pretty shortly, as there's only 44 of them left. Honestly, it'd probably be a good idea to charge into the... Yeah, they are going to charge into those, like, they're into those Snaga skirmishers. I want to silence them and try to take them out before they're able to throw all of their volleys. Oh no, here comes the champions, the White Hand. They'll be able to charge into those Lake Town River Patrol. But there are also halberds here. There's only 14 of them, but they might still be able to take out a few of those champions, as long as they're able to really set up a nice position. And the Snaga skirmishers are going to be able to escape with most of their men still in it, only taking a few losses. Meanwhile, over here, still got another unit of halberds, some archers. Looks like the Earls of Resgaroth moved somewhere else. Oh, actually a big push over here in the center from the Misty Mountains and Isengard. And the crossbows hammering right into all of these units, particularly Uruk Piking Herd down to only 56. Oh, here comes some javelins. And the Lake Town River Patrol. There's also the Nimrodel Rangers here. There's a big push here in the center, though. Nazkai from Horsey Hawks, 2 units of Heavy Goblin Spears, a unit of Pikes. Also, there are the Snow Trolls who are trying to stop the Minuscule and Sharpshooters. And oh, it's getting laggy. Probably because of this big push here. Dunedain Captains up here, as well as some Spears, trying to stop the Trolls from molesting these Minuscule and Sharpshooters there. Yeah, the Rangers, oh boy, those Nimrodel Rangers just butchering those poor Heavy Goblin Spears. And I think this assault will fail, honestly, for the attackers. They don't have enough back here, especially... I mean, they've got another unit of Pikes, but it's sent only 83. They've got some North Berserkers, but they're really not committing super heavily here. However, the biggest thing over here that is happening is they are wasting a lot of ammo, not only from the crossbows, but more importantly, from the Nimrodel Rangers. It looks like the crossbows are targeting the pikemen, although they should probably be focusing more on the Nazkai, who are down to 47, but they're still pushing directly through those poor Lake Town Spearmen. They will maybe be able to even get into those Lake Town River Patrol, so hopefully the crossbows will turn their attention towards those, oh boy, towards the Nazkai. The Lake Town River Patrol being committed to the fight. Swordmasters of Karn also over here. The captains are trying to deal with the trolls along with the spears. Spears are struggling against the trolls, and honestly the captains aren't doing too much better, but they're doing okay. Oh boy. Oh, okay, that's deadly. The ballista I can understand because there's not too much friendly fire. But you have to be incredibly careful with that trebuchet because of how inaccurate it is. I mean, if you hit right here, that's going to be super, super bad. Yeah, the Mountain Orc Berserkers, oh my gosh, weren't there like just 100 of them? Jeez, butchered there by the Rangers from like, it looks like one volley even. Crossbows still getting chased everywhere by the Snow Trolls. However, the Snow Trolls are now down to only 4 remaining. Hopefully the Sharpshooters again, hopefully they will target those, Guards of Orthanc are actually in here as well. Only 43 Nazkai left. And over there, there's the more body-piercing Rangers fighting to the backs of these heavy Goblin spears. And the AP Spearmen of the Goblins will be able to beat those Minuscule Orthanc Spearmen. So they need to start using their skirmishers and focusing them on the spears, and definitely on the Nazkai, who are actually also getting targeted by the ballista. But I don't think anything back here is going on, so, well, no, they're just more skirmishing. Oh, I take it back. There is stuff going on over here. The Minotaur Roman Guardians getting pushed directly through by those Black Legion of Barad-dûr. Here comes some Snaga skirmishers to throw at the Edhelm, so things are definitely picking up. Hearthguard, so it looks like Fur is going to try to retreat with the Hearthguard, not wanting to lose his general, but he's going to commit his Tharbad Warhammers over here. The Tharbad Warhammers, they're not being given any support, so they will take losses, but their AP should serve them very well against those Black Legion. And over here, things are looking pretty grim. They don't have a lot of units over here, so if they want to, yes, and in fact, it looks like they do. If the attackers want to, they will be able to push directly through this defense here, and that will result in the loss of the Tharbad Warhammers here, who are kind of by themselves. The attack will be stopped here, but the attackers will be able to rush all the way around this way and start attacking these units from behind, which is not going to be good at all. Dunedain Captains are going to be able to butcher their way through these heavy goblin spears. Most of the Nazkai, only 10 guards of Orthanc. I don't know where the Nazkai are. Nimrodel Rangers out of ammo, unfortunately. Only 8 Nazkai, so they're pretty much out of the battle for now. Oh, and here come some of the Black Urks. Oh my gosh, no! No! I was worried about that. See, I mean, it killed so many. The friendly fire actually routed the unit of spears. And just like that, things are turning back in favor. Well, not in terms of percentage quite yet, but things are turning back in favor of the attackers in terms of the overall battle. These Barding Herd won't be able to hold for very long after that obscene friendly fire from that trebuchet. Crossbows still trying to do their bit, causing a lot of damage to the Uruk pikemen and the Black Urks and Mountain. But here comes some more Black Urks. There are some Trolldrums back there, some more heavy goblin crossbows. So just like that, the attackers are starting to break into the Citadel, or into this fortress as a whole. He needs a little bit. Honestly, oh, actually, I take it back. I was gonna say, I was like, bro, with that friendly fire, you gotta stop that, man. I take it back. He actually was able to kill a number of the reinforcing unit of Black Legion, or of Black Uruk. So not bad, not bad. They got about 20 of them. But still, things are looking pretty grim over here. Not looking the best, especially as the trolls of the White Hand are coming in from the rear now. Black Uruks actually are coming around from the rear as well. Oh, they're flanking around. Ooh, gonna be able to come right behind these Tharbad Warhammers, who generally against Sauron's Will and Black Legion would be able to do very good. But because they're not being given any support, and they're not about to get outflanked, they will die pretty quickly, which is very unfortunate. Uruk crossbows from Son of the Dunedain coming in. And over here, Minuscule Archers and Halberds holding strong against the Black Legion. Although if the Black Legion decide to push through, that may be the end of those Halberds. So just like that, things are looking not super great. And again, with that friendly fire taking out a bunch of those Nimrodel Rangers, honestly, bro, this is why, this is generally why I don't bring a trebuchet, just because of how inaccurate they are. But that friendly fire is really not good. Over here, though, the Dunedain Captains providing some nice morale support, as well as doing a good job at cutting their way through those heavy goblin spears. I think they're shaken. Ooh, why are they shaken? They're not even getting attacked. Not good. Minuscule Sharpshooters down to 48. They have their crossbows out, so I assume they have ammo, but they're actually not shooting anything quite yet. And they're actually getting shot or fired at by those Snaga skirmishers. Okay, they are firing at something now, hopefully at those Black Urks of the mountains. That's probably the deadliest thing over here right now. And thankfully the ballista of Lengo not getting nearly as much friendly fire, although he did just snipe that one ranger. But yeah, not getting nearly as bad friendly fire over here, going to be able to do a little bit more damage. Well, not as much damage, but less friendly fire and damage as a whole. So it looks like he's actually targeting the pikemen, interestingly enough. They're only down to about 18, so I wouldn't worry about them for too much longer. I would definitely be trying to deal with those black Urks. The trebuchet is still constantly firing. Trolls the white hand down to 6 because they were fighting against these Warhammers who are actually shaken. They actually might rout. Even the elites of Cardolan, not super great morale, with a few exceptions, of course. But the black Urks of the mountains surrounding the Father Warhammers, along with some executions of Sauron's Will. So a lot of elites being committed here. It looks like a really big push, for the most part, from the attackers. It looks like this might be just about their final push as a whole. That meaning mainly all of their units, but actually I take it back. They've still got pikemen, champions, Melkor's chosen, as well as some guards working against some more Nazgûl. So they're not quite to their full-on push of committing everything quite yet, but they have committed a lot, that's for sure. And there go the Tharbad Warhammers routing. Ooh, very, very unfortunate there. Still 59 Temple Executioners, 52 Black Legion, and then 34 Black Legion. But yeah, over here, Defenders still holding strong. Those Halberds really proving to be very effective when they're able to actually set up their position. Ooh, and where are the Morroquendi bows? That's what I would want to know. Looks like this is definitely where they're going to be setting up their last stand. There's the Morroquendi bows. But they're definitely going to be trying to hold here with everything they have. You can see they've still got a lot of units around here. So they might actually be trying to just leave their units out here, just try to do as much damage. Oh, please tell me they didn't hit the captains. Okay, they didn't hit the captains. I was really worried there. I was like, oh no, man, more friendly fire. But no, it looks like it's okay. So the captains as well going to get cut down eventually, but they are doing a nice job, honestly, against the black Urks. I want to call them Black Legion, but they're Black Urks. Pikemen fighting against the last of those Earls. Here comes that other unit of Black Urks of the mountain. The trolls are back there as well. Those are the last of the trolls, I believe. And also, I don't know if you saw, but not too long ago, the general of Horseyhawks did die. There are 26 sharpshooters left, and they really need to be targeting the Black Urks of the mountains there with everything they've got. Looks like they're instead actually targeting this unit that's at 49. Honestly, the captains will probably be able to deal with them. He needs to be trying to target the Black Urks and just try to deal as much damage as possible. Also, there are still the Black Back Mountain Berserkers, 24 skill, really nice stats all around, AP. Those guys are going to be really tough to deal with. And oh, what happened here? Black Legion, Sauron's Will, Sniper Services routing these archers. Fair enough, but what happened to all the halberds that were here? Did they actually retreat? In fact, it looks like they did. These Edhelm halberdiers that were holding that choke have retreated back over here onto this hill, which is definitely going to be the last stand of the defenders. They've got a lot of things left over. These Athala Rangers, in particular of Lengo, have not fired a single volley. Oh, they're actually going to be trying to hold 2 chokes, which is probably not the best idea, because they don't really have enough over here to hold for super long. He's got Earls, he's got a few Barding Herding, he's got his Daemon Royal Guard, more Quinny Bows, but it'd be best to probably just concentrate your forces in one area, honestly. Although he might just want to not get targeted by specific units as well. He might be trying to spread out just a little bit there to prevent that. Over here, the Black Legion pretty much not going to be able to push through pike lines anymore, which is definitely very good for the defenders. Crossbows, though, there are still 110 crossbows. That's not good, because that means the attackers are going to have to focus their skirmishers on the crossbows, at least for a while, which is going to make them not be able to focus things like executioners, Blackback Mountain Berserkers, and the Nazgûl that are still around. There's still 1 Nazgûl, there's 1 Blackback Mountain Berserker, there's 1 Temple Executioner left in terms of elites. And there's also the 2 Knights, the Melkor's Chosen, that have not fought at all, and the Champions, the 100% of the Doom, that have taken a few losses. Meanwhile, over here, looks like the attackers are victorious. Except for those Earls of Esgaroth who are just kind of sitting there. So the sharpshooters were routed, the captains were taken out, and it looks like it's going to be, once again, a little bit of a waiting period to decide the final attack, or the final push, rather, of the attackers and see how they want to play this out. Black Legion Barad-dûr there. Yeah, I guess for now we can just kind of sit here and wait, because it's going to be just, again, a waiting game until the attackers decide to make their final push. But so far, it's been a really nice battle, really back and forth. Well, actually, I take it back. It's not been super back and forth. Well, I guess it depends on how you say it, but it's been close the whole time, is basically what I'm trying to say. It hasn't been super in one person's favor, or in one team's favor the entire time. 81 to 86%. Been a really, really nice battle so far. But again, big thank you to all the players involved, and a particularly big thank you to Lango for sending me this replay. Again, a little bit interesting for them deciding to just kind of lightly defend this area over here. I mean, it's a small choke right here, but he's got his Earls up front more, which is rather interesting. Also got his Dalian Royal Guard, who are out of ammo back here, not his General's Bodyguard. He's also got his Morikundi bows on the edge here, and these guys have also not fired a single volley as well. I wonder where his Girian's Paladins are, because that is his General's Bodyguard. Oh, they're right here. Girian's Paladins with some fresh Swordmasters of Harn. As well as some Barding Herd. There's the Ballista. Oh, Uruk crossbows firing. Ooh, that's actually... Can they fire? What is... What are they firing at? Hearthguard Lemon Soul shooting at the back of the black. Legion of Barad-dûr. Interesting. And there the Uruk crossbows are... Oh, they're trying to fire over here at this pike block, but they're only hitting 5 or 6 dudes. So honestly, that would be perfectly okay with me if I was a defender, because again, if they're only killing 5 or 6 each time, with each entire volley, that's a huge waste of ammo. So it'd be perfectly okay with me if I was a defender to allow him to continue firing volleys over that house there. Because it's just wasting a lot of ammo. See, only about half the unit is firing, but is still, of course, wasting ammo. Back here we've got Uruk Pikemen, the last of the Sauron's Will, as well as... No, that's actually just about it there. Executioners and champions. Those executioners, man, they look so cool with their armor upgrades. I love them with their armor upgrades. Still 6 trolls. Again, the trolls might be a little bit difficult to deal with, at least in the beginning, because again, the defenders have a lot of pikes and such, but they do have halberds and they do have Girian's Paladins, so paladins in particular would be able to butcher those trolls. 34 Melkor's chosen, and honestly, later in the game, when there's not as many pikes, the Melkor's chosen and Champion's Land might actually prove very difficult to deal with. Back here, the completely healthy Nazkai, the General's Bodyguard of Son of Udunadang. He's also got his Guards of Orthanc over here as well. These guys do inspire courage into the friendlies around them. There's the trolls still. The crossbows have stopped firing, but they are actually now taking some return volleys from Hearthguard of Amansul, firing directly down on that hill there, or from that hill onto the crossbows. Yes, and now Lango is going to be retreating back with his Earls of Growth, which I think is a good idea, because it's a little bit odd for them to be kind of pushed so far forward rather than support. It looks like the pikes actually retreated, unfortunately. Oh no, that's why you don't retreat your pikes, because now the champions of the White Hand are going to be able to charge directly into these Belfast Marines, and that is not okay, because the Belfast Marines are not bad in melee, so you need to push up some pikes right now. Actually pushing up some halberds. No, again, that's fine. You just need to put something here to protect your Belfast Marines from these cavalrymen, especially because those crossbows don't have a great angle. They don't have a great angle unless they get right in front here. So you need to just put something here, because they were just wasting volleys when they were shooting from here. So yeah, unnecessary losses. Took about 30 losses there to his Belfast Marines. He just needs to leave his halberds or his pikes there. They need to stay there, otherwise the Belfast Marines will take unnecessary casualties. Orc Javelins trying to do their bit as well. The Belfast Marines actually going to rush down after those Orc Javelins, and actually it's going to rout them right away. And there's the Black Legion of Barad-dûr, Guard of Orthanc. One Guard of Orthanc from Horse the Ox at YT. No way, his general is still alive? His general didn't die. Is that his... No, that's the Nazkai. Okay, I was very confused. I was like, how is his general still alive? But no, that's one Guard of Orthanc and one Nazkai that he's got left over, as well as 6 pikemen. Yeah, those Orc Javelins actually routed. They probably will not return. And I do apologize if you can hear that drill in the background. I think someone's working at something in their garage, unfortunately, but I can't really stop that. Yeah, crossbows at 106, pushing forward a little bit, but not too much. Yeah, again, now it's just going to be a little bit more of a slow part as the attackers decide what they want to do. And thankfully, there are some halberds up front now. Because again, that angle that the crossbows have is not a good one. They're just wasting ammo when they're using it, when they're trying to fire from back here. And also the Edhelm halberdiers up here will actually prevent the champions of the White Hand from causing any deadly charges. Although the Earls of Esgaroth, if they don't retreat behind the Barding Herd, they will actually also get charged by the champions of the White Hand very shortly. Yes, here come the champions. They're trying to do something here. Not quite sure what. They are trying to move around. And yes, they are going to be trying to charge maybe into the halberds. Not a great idea. No, they're going after the Earls. Okay. So yeah, the Earls need to retreat, or the Barding Herd need to move up. If they don't, then those Earls are going to take a nasty charge. The Barding Herd are going to move up, and the Earls are going to move back. So again, that's fine. Oh, actually some nice volleys. Oh, yeah. Champions White Hand going to retreat. I actually think about routing and, ooh, taking some nasty volleys from the Morroquindi bows, taking out a lot of them there. Going to actually retreat back into the Belfalas Marines who were chasing them. And probably not the best idea for the Belfalas Marines to try to chase them down. They will take a lot of losses to that because they're not spears or pikes or anything like that. However, the champions of the White Hand now down to only 17. Snaga skirmishers there at 74, but they're thinking about routing, so if anything tries to even fight them once, they will probably just rout instantly. And yes, as soon as these Belfast Marines charge into there, these guys will probably rout. Oh no, I take it back. They're not going to rout. They're just shaking. However, Snaga skirmishers are by no means good in melee, so these Belfast Marines will be able to cut them down in pretty short order. You can see already a lot of those skirmishers getting cut down, getting an axe to the head. Meanwhile, yeah, the attackers don't have a ton left over. I mean, they've got elites. They've definitely got elites. But in terms of numbers, they really don't have a lot. 83 to 87, so within 4% so far, which is very nice. Always good to see close battles. Goblin King's Bodyguard, Black Urks of the Mountain. There are also still the Black Back Mountain Berserkers. A full unit of White Urk Fearmongers. Ooh, that's a lot of elites. Gonna be a battle of elites, I think, here towards the end. There's the one Nazkai and one Guard of Orthanc. Athala Rangers actually... It looks like they were trying to come down here and maybe get a volley off into this big blob here in the canyon, but the advance of these Melkor's Chosen is going to force them to retreat. We're getting closer in terms of frame, so it's not going to be too much longer, I wouldn't think, until the actual fight does begin once again. There's the Snaga skirmishers. Trying to also throw some javelins and soften up these guys, but once more, the Belfalas Marines will be charging down the hill to try to rout them. The Snaga skirmishers are going to avoid that and retreat. But there are still some pikemen rushing forward, as well as the one Nazkai and the one Guard of Orthanc. Oh, Nazkai getting cut down immediately. Oh, that is demeaning. That is not cool. And actually, I think the Guard of Orthanc also got cut down immediately. But oh, here come the Melkor's Chosen, charging right into the flank of the Belfast Marines. Not getting an incredibly deadly charge, but still going to stay in melee for a little bit and get shot at a little bit by the Morroquindi bows. Ooh, we might see a push here. We've got the Uruk-hai pikemen moving forward. Oh, yes, we do. We've got Melkor's Chosen and Uruk-hai pikemen marching forward, as well as the champions of the White Hand. So we may see a bit of a push here. There's still the Uruk-hai crossbows, the two elites of Son of the Dúnedain. He's also got his trolls and the Sons of Will and Executioners. So yeah, maybe a decent enough push here, because there are the pikes coming forward. Melkor's Chosen as well. Probably should retreat with these Belfast Marines, but they are in fact actually going to rush forward. Because of that, they are going to get chased down and routed by the Melkor's Chosen, who are of course fear-inspiring. That's going to be enough to rout them off the field. Snaga skirmishers also going to come up and try to help out and take prisoners. And yeah, here are the Uruk-hai pikes. We'll see. They're going to maybe take some of the arrow volleys. Yes, and ooh. That is, oh, not only volleys from the Morroquindi bows, but these Athala Rangers on that hill, excellent position, got a terrible volley off onto those pikemen there. But you're gonna have to be careful with the ammo of the Athala Rangers. They haven't fired at all, which is nice, but you do have to be careful of careful of using too much ammo on the pikemen because the fellow rangers will be very nice. If they can get their volleys off, they will be very useful at just firing through the entire unit, pretty much, of things like Nazkai and executioners. Although the pikemen are fighting with the halberds now, unfortunately for the halberds don't have the reach. So if they're not given any support, the halberds will lose this fight very quickly. Especially because they are very outnumbered by the Uruk pikemen. And yes, here comes some Talon Knights to help out, it looks like. Also, the fellow rangers actually firing at the Black Legion of Barad-dûr, surprisingly enough. And oh, there's the trolls. Trolls rushing forward into the Barding Herd, and because the Barding Herd don't have too many men left over, they're struggling at dealing with trolls. They're able to cut down 2 of them. Earls of Esgaroth trying to help out, but unfortunately the Earls aren't super great at taking out trolls. Although, having fought for a while, these trolls are going to be somewhat weaker than usual, so that's why there are only 3 of them remaining. Back up a little bit, don't want to be inside the troll's head. But yeah, the Talon Knights, so they were maybe taking a few volleys from these skirmishers, but were actually able to rout the skirmishers. And oh no, yeah, they need to commit their pikes maybe, or some Barding Herd down here to prevent... Oh yeah, look, these fellow rangers are completely exposed. If the Melkor's Chosen or anything wants to, they could just rush the right up here and charge dead into those fellow rangers. And yes, thankfully here comes some pikemen who try to help out and plug the gap. There's the Melkor's Chosen back there as well. Oh, over here though, Earls of Esgaroth trying to pursue and cut down that last troll, but actually getting caught out now by the champions of the White Hand. Hopefully these Morquendi bows will take advantage of these champions here and shoot them in the flanks. They're unfortunately not going to do so. So these champions will continuously, or will be able to live for a little bit longer. The Alien Royal Guard back there. Oh, and there goes the last troll. Oh, so unfortunate. Yeah, the Dalian Royal Guard very, very deadly in melee as well. Has very good archers. Over here. Oh, here come the Nazkai Guards of Orthanc. So it looks like this might very well be the final push from the attackers. The Ballista in a nice position to be able to fire into these into these very thick ranks. There's the crossbows down there. Full unit of them. Melkor's Chosen taking some losses to arrows. Black Legion Black Uruks trying to sneak around. And yeah, these Talon Knights are going to struggle against the Guards of Orthanc and the Nazkai. They will get butchered very quickly, particularly by the Nazkai. The AP of those guys are going to be able to cut straight through the heavy armor of the Talon Knights. Also, it does not help at all. They're now actually getting outflanked by the Black Uruks of the mountain. So hopefully, this Ballista will actually be able to fire into the flanks of these Nazkai and be able to take out a few of them, but we'll just have to see how that goes. Also, if you just got a notification, and unfortunately this particular notification, whenever I exit it, also exits the, well, I basically just alt tabs me from the program. So I will be back in just a moment to see you guys, well, so we can see this final attack from the evil team. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Alright, so I am backing up from that very annoying notification, and yes, the Nazkai are down to 62, Talon Knights at 38, but there is a second unit of Talon Knights, thankfully. He's going to try to pull back with his Talon Knights, and yes, please get a volley off with the Ballista. Unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to be able to do so before the pipeline is engaged. Here come the Black Uruks of the mountain. The crossbows are also back there constantly firing. And ooh, the Nazkai are going to be able to sneak through here. Actually going to try to, yes, take out the Ballista crew. And that is a very, very risky move because they're going to be kind of out here by themselves, but they will maybe be able to cut down that Ballista. And if they're able to do so, that'll be very, very nice. Meanwhile, so here we've got the Barding Herd, the Earls of Esgaroth, and the Dalian Royal Guard, and the Morquendi bows still holding on strong, not getting attacked. It looks like they were able to take out a lot of those champions of the White Hand there. Looks for the most part, maybe all of the champions of the White Hand are dead. They're actually doing a good job at shooting down those Black Uruks of the mountain as well. Ooh, there's still stuff. These guys, so freaking deadly in melee. There's still heavy Goblin crossbows, White Uruk Fearmongers, and Melkor's Chosen, so definitely want to save the ammo on those Morquendi bows, particularly to shoot things like White Uruk Fearmongers and Blackback Mountain Berserkers. There's the Uruk crossbows, so they must be out of ammo. The Sirens will have been committed, and ooh, yeah, this pipeline, these are our elite pikes, but they're starting to get a little bit surrounded here, especially on this flank. You can see that Vedetus actually committed both units of his Talon Knights here to try to slow the advance of these elites. Against the Guards of Orthanc, they will do relatively well because of that -4 malice against other infantry that the Guards of Orthanc do have with their spears. But again, against those Nazkai, they will take a lot of losses. And the Trebuchet is trying to fire, but not really being able to do so very effectively. Oh boy, and here comes this final push. Here we've got Blackback Mountain Berserkers, got White Earth Fearmongers, Cave Trolls, or Cave Troll Drummers I should say, and some heavy Goblin crossbows. I don't quite know where the exit, yes, and here come the Temple Executioners of Ragnar, all being committed over here. So it looks like that Dale front over here is not actually going to be assaulted, at least for the time being. So he may want to consider attacking over here and helping out his allies, because these Wardens of Tir and Gorthad are not going to hold very long. Ooh! I don't know why that made no sound, but it didn't make a sound. However, the Trebuchet missing there, and again with all the just number of units pushing through here, these pikes are going to struggle. And so the Haven Guard are going to have to be committed. Honestly, Lango should probably commit his Barding Herd there as well as his final 2 units up here. In fact, he is going to be pushing down with his, yes, both of his units down here. Not his Barding Herd, but still his 2 other units. He's going to have to do his best. He's actually pulling out now with his troops over here, going to try to help out. Unfortunately, his Morquendi bows are out of ammo, but they are by no means bad in melee either. Particularly Royal Guard are also extremely good in melee. And unfortunately, there goes Cardolan's general. I mean, it's not a huge deal at this point because his only unit is the Wardens of Tir and Gorthad are down to 39 and the Trebuchet crew. But still, I mean, look at this. Is going to be really, really friggin' close. Barding Herd, unfortunately, looks like he's not. Oh, that ammo. Oh boy, and here come the Melkor's Chosen, just obliterating that unit of Morquendi bows. That is really, really unfortunate. There's the Champions of the White Hand. Some of the big has left him as well. Very, very unfortunate because honestly, the Morquendi bows are really quite good in melee. So that is just really bad that he took that horrendous charge there. Not nice, not nice at all. There's the Temple Executioners. And he is actually, Lengo is actually being able to outflank the attackers here a little bit. Blackback Mountain Berserkers down to 69. He's committing his Barding Herd, thankfully. Haven Guard are down here trying to help out. Gonna do a good job against the Blackback Mountain Berserkers, but they still will struggle. Over here, the crossbows down to 95. Nazca at 54. Guards of Orcs at 39. Talonites have also taken a number of losses. So things are getting really, really hairy here. And it's just really unfortunate that, oh, Goblin King's Bodyguard still. There's Melkor's Chosen. And the Dalian Royal Guard going to be able to outflank with the Osgoroth. The Barding Herd going to try to hold the line here and prevent these units from getting rear charged. But there's the Executioners as well. Oh man, so many elites, 91 to 93%. You can see there's not a whole lot of frames remaining to us. And unfortunately, this Trebuchet is out of ammo. But there are still Swordmasters of Karnan and Girian's Paladins over here as well. But oh boy, this is going to be real, real close. There's so many elites. Oh boy, here comes a charge from the Melkor's Chosen. Team Lango going to try to get out of the way. But unfortunately, not really going to be able to do so. Thankfully, because it was an uphill charge, he only took 1 loss to his Dalian Royal Guard. And if the Melkor's Chosen stay in melee with the Royal Guard, they will take losses. Yeah, things so close. There's still 1 Cave Troll Drummer. I take it back, he just died. Things are looking a little bit better now that the more elites have been committed. Oh, those Blackback Mountain Berserkers, man. They're getting absolutely butchered. I did not expect that. They're getting butchered by the Barding Herd, and particularly by the Haven Guard. But here comes some Halberds of the Musliman's own team. Here comes some Girian's Paladins as well. The Nazkai, though, are over here as well. Still 44 of them remain. Haven Guard actually kind of breaking through the line, going to try to silence those heavy Goblin Crossbowmen who are shooting the Royal Guard, who are down to 40. Oh, the Goblin King Bodyguard there at 59. Executioners at 57. So this is looking really good in there. Dalian Royal Guard. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad that he's taking so many cavalry or losses to those cav charges. Because if it weren't for those cav charges, I would think the defenders would still have this one in the bag. But as it is, there's still 2 of the Champions of the White Hand and 27 of those Melkor's Chosen. And oh boy, it is looking really, really close. Barding Herd going to provide some support to this line, going to be able to be more than a match for these White Earth Fearmongers who have been fighting and taking skirmish losses down to only 81. Haven Guard actually flanking around. Going to be able to cut down these Blackback Mountain Berserkers from behind, as well as the White Earth Fearmongers. Blackback Mountain Berserkers down to 24. Geez, I guess that 24 skill didn't really help him out too much in that fight against the Haven Guard. Meanwhile, the Nazkai are only at 32. There goes the Dol Amroth general, unfortunately. However, thankfully for him, I believe most of his units, of course being the Haven Guard and the Talonites, I believe are lost morale. Or at least if they're not lost morale, they're very high morale. That's actually very unfortunate that he lost his general, because there's still 42 of them left. The Swordmasters of Karn are going to try to surround the crossbows in Nazkai, but instead actually decided to chase down those crossbows and try to silence them. Meanwhile, oh, and it's just so bad. Those Morquindy bows got charged like that. But anyway, over here, the Executioner's at 55, doing a good job with the Goblin King's Bodyguard, doing a really excellent job at cutting down the last of these Earls of Esgaroth, and the Dalian Royal Guard, who are now down to only 16. Haven Guard, though, oh, they're out of position. Gonna get charged.
We have lost half of our men.
Gonna get charged head on by those Melkor's Chosen, who are at 26 now, along with the Swordmasters of Karn. The Girian's Paladins are in here as well, though. These guys have not really fought much at all. And I think it'll be really, really close. It'll almost be like a fight, I would think, between the Girian's Paladins and the Executioners. But there are also still Haven Guard and, man, those Melkor's Chosen. The only anti-cav that they've got left for this team is the Barding Herd, who are at 89. They need to probably pull these Barding Herd away from the fight with the Nazkai and get them down here and try to protect their elites from those Melkor's Chosen, who are just constantly charging. They don't have an AP charge because they're not Lancers, but they are Fiend Spine and they are AP once they actually get into melee. They're really difficult to deal with. Blackback men Berserkers down to only 10 men remaining. Oh, Goblin King's Bodyguard and Champion's Right Hand pushing, kind of wrapping around this flank here, and actually get in with the Girian's Paladins along with the Temple Executioners. And yes, there's some Othala Rangers in here. There's the Black Urks of the Mountain. There's the Goblin King's Bodyguard at 35. Oh, brother, this is so close. Swordmasters of Karn getting charged really badly. Temple, or Haven Guard actually retreated. They probably need to get back in the fight. Maybe come over here, try to deal with these champions and help out against the Temple Executioners, but instead, they're actually going to try to deal with the last of these 27 Nazkai. Try to just get them off the field and free up his few remaining Talon Knights along with the, what are they called? The few remaining Talon Knights as well as the Barding Herd. Trebuchet crew pushing down off the hill now, going to try to silence those. Have you got them crossbows? No, they're going to try to actually flank around, and because of that, they're going to get charged head on by these Melkor's Chosen. They need to try to silence those crossbows, honestly. And they need to get the Barding Herd down here ASAP and try to just stop those Melkor's Chosen at 22. And currently, the Girian's Paladins, they are very strong, but against the Bodyguard and the Temple Executioners, it's going to be real close. However, there are still other units to help them out here, like the Barding Herd, the Swordmasters of Karn down to only 12. And over here, though, it's been really close. The Guards of Orthanc at 20, Nazkai at 16, and the Haven Guard at 22. So looking real close here. We'll take a look at the percentage. 98 to 98. Oh man, it's been such a good battle. Swordmaster is trying to silence the crossbows, but getting charged by the Melkor's Chosen. Not looking good. You can see the Barding Herd trying to get down there, but they're getting assaulted by the Executioners at the same time. So, oh boy, man, this is not good. But it is going to be kind of a long fight because most of these are elites with their hit cons still on. Goblin King's Bodyguard down to 30. They're going to struggle very heavily. The Goblin King's Bodyguard against the Girian's Paladins because the Paladins are AP. But oh no. Those Executioners, man, at 48. The Paladins only at 40. The Goblin King's Bodyguard at 28. Oh my gosh. This is not good, man. Oh no. I think it's going to be close, but I really think that the attackers, I think, will probably win this. Those Executioners, man, they're too strong. And with the Bodyguard here as well, and definitely with these Melkor's Chosen, I think that might be it. However, I shouldn't say that so soon, because the Othala Rangers have ammo. They might be able to shoot some of these Melkor's Chosen down. There's still 19 Haven Guard, 2 Talon Knights in that unit. Only 6 Nazkai. A Haven Guard at 16. Oh, dude, I don't know. This is going to be so close. This is going to be so close. If they're maybe able to... Yes! They were able to kill the general. They had killed Mordor's general that Melkor's Chosen. And Melkor's Chosen definitely don't route often, but they can route. I have seen them route before. So they might be able to route him. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be so close. I take it back. It might be. Oh, but see here, the 34 Girian's Paladins fighting against the 44 Executioners, as well as the Bodyguard that are in here somewhere. Bodyguard at 15. Your Paladins are going down quick. Paladins are going down really quick. There's also still 34 of those Heavy Goblin crossbows. So it's going to be so close. This is it. It's really coming down to the wire here. Only 27 of the Dalian Paladins. You saw Dale's general actually get a kill there on one of the Executioners, but he's getting completely surrounded now. Here comes 15 Haven Guard going to be committed to the fray here, trying to help out against the Bodyguard and the Executioners. Honestly, those Othala Rangers, gonna have to try to... Honestly, I would maybe use the... Oh, actually, Heavy Goblin Crossbows getting assaulted by the Talon Knights. Oh, gonna try to silence them, yeah. But honestly, it might be best to try to get these Othala Rangers on a flank. Oh, there goes the General. Honestly, it'd probably be best to try to get these Othala Rangers on the flank, just like right here on the bottom of the hill, and try to shoot at these Executioners. Honestly, that's probably going to be their only chance. Probably just needs to leave these crossbows to do their thing, and just try to shoot at these Executioners. 1 Blackback Mountain Berserker remaining, 12 Haven Guard, 29 Executioners, 15 of those Melkor's Chosen, and 14 Bodyguard. Well, some scattered units here and there. Not looking good. 14 Girians Paladins. They just were not, they're not super high on skill, and their AP is nice against those Executioners, but overall they're going to struggle against the very high skilled Temple Executioners. Only 11 of them left. Going to try to charge those Melkor's Chosen, but I think this will pretty much be it. Unfortunately, it looks like the attackers... Well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but you know, you gotta root for the defenders, man. They never run out of skill. But seriously, it was a very, very close battle all around. And I'll go ahead and speed this up. 8 Paladins, 7 Haven Guard, 23 of those Executioners, 10 Bodyguard of the Goblin King, and those Melkor's Chosen. Surprisingly enough, those Melkor's Chosen, I think, were really the deciding factor. They were able to cycle charge a lot of these units to death, and the Barding Herd weren't able to actually push down and stop them early enough on this assault on the hill, and that will pretty much be the end of this battle. However, I still think it was a very, very close one, and I really enjoyed commentating on it. So big thank you to all the players involved, especially to Wengo for sending me this replay. 15 of those crossbows left, and yes, this will pretty much be the end. The final stand of the Haven Guard. All the Paladins are dead. See Azog 1v1ing one of the Haven Guard here. Might actually get taken out if he's not careful. But again, it looks like he'll be okay, because yes, that Haven Guard has fallen. And that will be the end of this very awesome replay here. We'll take it. Yeah, 15 Melkor's Chosen, 20 of the Executioners, so 35 plus 9, 44. So there's probably only like 50 total, because there's probably some other random units in here. Like maybe, yeah, there's... Yeah. Oh boy, that one was really, really close. That one was real nice. There was only like 50 or so remaining survivors. Of course, these are also with the casualties and stuff. Well, healed casualties. But yeah, so Lengo getting 2,500 kills. Frodo getting 3,600. Vedeta's getting 3,700. The most kills for the attackers went to Ragnar with 2,100. And all the others attackers did not do too bad either. We'll take a quick look at the exact kills. Girian's Paladins were getting 77, but when you remember that they were fighting against mostly elites, that actually isn't bad. The Alien Marksman did good, Ballista did not too bad either, Barding Herd, one unit did good, the other two did not. Both his River Patrol did very nicely. Sword Masters of Karn did alright. Those Alien Royal Guard, they just got charged to death by the champions and the first Chosen. More Quinny Bows didn't do bad, but again, they could have gotten a lot more kills if they hadn't gotten charged. Lake Town Bowmen actually did very good as well. Earls of Resgroth did okay. Lake Town Spears were just kind of there. That looks like it'll pretty much be it. So again, big thank you to all the players involved, and to Lengo for sending me this replay. Unfortunately, the defenders did not win, but it was still a very, very close battle, and it was just a super nice one overall. So if you guys did enjoy it, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you did not, just tell me what I did wrong, and I'll be sure to fix it for you in the next video. So farewell wherever you fare, till your eyes receive you at your journey's end.